Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. The Walking Dead, Season 9, Episode 4, The Obliged. The recap, discussion, and review. Here we are to celebrate Rick Grimes. Now, is everyone all right after watching that episode? Do you guys need a big verbal hug? Is everyone okay with that cliffhanger? I mean, they left us on this big mystery. What's going to happen to Rick, considering the way that the episode ends with the preview popping right in going, next week's episode is the last episode of Rick Grimes. See, everyone's coming back. You see the Punisher's here. Everyone's here. But this episode was a mixed bag for me. There were some stuff that I enjoyed in this episode. Again, I think I liked the Negan stuff. I liked Negan and Michonne scenes in general. I thought they had some good acting chemistry going back and forth with each other, even though it kind of came out of nowhere and it was a little ham-fisted in there, like, this is going to be our thing moving forward because of once Rick's out of the way and moving forward, when we have a Negan and Michonne kind of thing, we have to be like, we're both sides of the same coin. I'm like you, you're like me, I'm like you, but not like you. Why do you think you're like me? Why do you celebrate the dead like me? I don't not like me, I don't, But I generally, compared to some of the other stuff in this episode, enjoyed that. But this was another slow drag for me. I don't know if I'm just past that point in my Walking Dead relationship where I don't know if they could do something to please me. So maybe I'm not the best person to be discussing this episode. I'm saying, yeah, I'm totally devaluing my opinion right from the beginning of this. If this is your first time tuning in, you might as well just tune it off because you're like, what the hell is this? This guy's basically saying not to listen to him. And yeah, you shouldn't listen to me because I don't know if this show can please me. The end of this episode with Rick, I thought that was really forced. Again, it's a moment of stupidity. Why is he? I understand the metaphorical reasons of him being attached to this bridge and attached to this whole situation of connecting the people. But therefore, in a moment, it's like, hey, let's get away from these hordes. I'll jump in the back with Daryl. We just told each other we're brothers. But no, I'm going to stay here because the script demands I need to die. And then I also don't like how we know that Rick is going to die. Why did they deball this? Was Andrew Lincoln that unhappy that he said, no, you need to announce that I only have 6 episodes left? At what point did they decide in the creative process that we shouldn't make Rick's death a surprise and we should promote this? After 9 glorious seasons. Wait, where is it? Sorry, I gotta play some sad music when I do this. Oh gosh, I'm alone right now, but I'm never alone because I have with me the live motherfucking chat. And the Walking David will be joining me a little bit later, hopefully. But would you hear this music? You've enjoyed Rick Grimes for 9 seasons. Next week, on a very special episode of The Walking Dead, we travel down a history of Rick Grimes. Back when Glenn saved his little ass. Remember Daryl reminded you of that? And then we're going to see him and Shane together one more time. But in fairness, I gotta say, the preview for next week's episode with the sea of bodies, I don't want to talk too much about the preview before I talk about this episode, but it did look kind of cool, and I'm hoping for a good episode next week. But I don't know what it was. As I mentioned, I might not, the bloom is off my rose, is that the expression? I don't know if The Walking Dead can necessarily please me in some of the more dramatic elements or when the show's at a slower down pace. There's points in this episode where I was struggling to keep interested in what was going on. I generally like the characters. I like what's happening, and I like the way the story seems to be picked up the pace a little bit. But every one of these episodes this season seems to start with a little bit of a music montage. It's the reversed anarchy, the reverse Sons of Anarchy, where you're starting out with this little montage at the beginning. And then we're leading up to generally boring episodes with a slight flare-up in the middle. A slight flare-up where we almost have some action in the middle. And then each one of these episodes, it's limiting the time where action happens. It's shortening that gap. We're at, what was it, 10:55 or something? No, 9:55. And there's 10 minutes left in the episode because the episode has to end at 10:05 for some reason because you got to fit in some more commercial breaks of into The Walking Dead while the ratings are still stellar and these Rick Grimes final 2 episodes run. So they add these extra 5 minutes. So I'm looking at the clock and Rick's got 2 episodes left. Something's got to happen with Rick. Rick and Daryl are down in a hole. Don't know if they're gonna give me. Sorry, that wasn't well rehearsed. But they're down in a fucking hole through most of the episode. They fall into this giant hole, which I gotta say, this is one of those points where I enjoyed the moment in this episode. I enjoyed the visual of them down the hole when they were trying to climb up and it's sliding down. It reminded me of a level in a Mario game where you trying to climb and you slide back down. I don't know. I'm in a babbly kind of mood. I can't say that episode tremendously excited me, but I don't know if that's, as I've mentioned a few times, I don't know if that's a credit to me just being a big, mean, dirty curmudgeon. Highlight the dirty aspect of that. Underline that 3 times. I showered. I mean more, you know what I mean. But I don't know if that's the case or something I'm missing. And if there's something I'm missing and people are really loving this season so far, please let me know in the comment section, or you can call on in at 781-990-8509, or you can jump, if you're watching this right now, into the live motherfucking chat. And let me go into the live chat and see who's in there right now. We got tons of awesome people in the live chat right now. Santovia Major, great to see you. I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle next week's episode. First Ken, now Rick. Listen, Rick Grimes is a decent television character when it comes down to it. He's important to The Walking Dead, but we cannot let whatever happens to Rick Grimes understate in any way, shape, or form the loss that Ken put, the dark cloud that the death of Ken put on this show. It might never be the same. I mean, it's hard to quantify into words what this Ken thing. Hey, listen. Don't. Fucking assholes. There's assholes in my eardrums. Fucking assholes. But yeah, Santovia, I agree with that. Let's go. Mr. Ed's grandson. Yeah, fuck Mr. Ed's grandson. I love Chris Hardwick. I saw the beginning of Talking Dead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for myself, not to you. But does everyone just hate horses right now? Fuck horses. I think we all hate that horse that threw Rick Grimes off. What was up with that horse? You know what was up with that horse, Rick? You know what was up with that horse, Chris? The fucking script. We have to find a way to make Rick Grimes die here. Let me think. Well, I read Game of Thrones recently, and I want to think that when Ned got thrown off this horse, hurt himself, he could throw a plunge in himself. I don't know. We'll talk a little bit more about that next week with Joe Dirtylocks and with David and more tonight later as we get more into this episode about how Rick died or how Rick is about to die. But we know he gets off that too because we saw the preview for next week. Unless it's all in flashback, we see him crawling and walking and making his way off that thing. So he somehow fights his way out of the situation and he dies from bleeding to death or gets saved. Again, maybe Rick gets saved somehow. Does that happen? I don't think so, but because it's Rick Grimes' final episode. No. Motherfuckers. At this pace, Rick is going to die of tetanus first. I hope he had his shots. I don't even watch this episode. First season, I've been okay with that. DJ, great to see DJ better. But always a Phil fan. Oh, that makes me blush. Thank you, DJ better. Corey says, you didn't miss much, DJ. Mike asked his usual trolling through the chat for PCP, for primary care physician. Is that what you're looking for, Mike? I don't know. Corey says, I'm sad at the fact that I'm so apathetic towards Rick leaving the show. I'm kind of sad for the same fact. I think that's what I'm drinking to tonight. I'm drinking to, I thought maybe I would feel, am I just dead inside? Am I walking dead inside when it comes to this show? Has this show hurt me one too many times? Television hurt me. Well, before someone's like, don't get your knickers in a bunch there, Phil. No. Like, my pants aren't in a bunch up my bum right now. That's not happening. That's not what I mean. This isn't ruining my life, but my television interest life. This show has horribly disappointed me so many times that it's like when you get to that point in a relationship, whether it's a friend or a romantic relationship, where someone just pissed you off so many times, and no matter, even if they're good and they change, you can never bring back that love and feeling. Oh, God. I'm in one of those moods, aren't I? But I am. But I am interesting. It's interesting. I am eager and interested to see where the season goes moving forward after they finish the Rick business. Do they do another time jump? Do they just take right afterwards? How does everyone deal with the outcome of Rick? I kind of hope they deal with everyone dealing with the outcome of Rick's death, and they don't just yada yada go 2 years later when everything's settled down. You're yada yadaing over the good stuff there. And how does everyone deal with Rick's, or well, maybe I say that, but everyone's just going to be, well, we have to honor what Rick wanted to do. I want to honor what Rick did. Well, we've got to honor what Ken did too. Oh, let's honor what Ken did. Yeah, so let's honor what Rick and Ken did. No surprise endings unless this all turns out to be a fever dream in an emergency room years ago. At this point, I'm hoping for that K-Rich. Let's see. Oh, we got Cynical Lindsay. I didn't call you Cynthia the first time. I am happy about that. I win tonight. Welcome, Lindsay. Great to see you in the live chat. Atari Dad. I tried to bounce right to Atari Dad, so it's like Lindsay. Wick. Atari Dad. I think they knew it would be impossible to hide Andrew Lincoln was leaving, but they still should have at least avoided talking about it. I would rather them lie to me. No, my character isn't coming back on said show. My character's totally dead. Ding, ding, ding. Well, you were seen at the shooting location getting off the airport. Wasn't me. Well, I looked right in your face. Listen. Wasn't me. Listen. I saw you. No. Look, I don't care what you say. I'd rather them lie to me straight the fuck out, you know? Rick will never die. Never. Never. No, Rick. Coral. It's the big one. I'm coming to see you. Coral. Lindsay says, this episode started out great and then completely stalled when Rick and Daryl fell in the conveniently placed hole. And Lindsay treads on that perfectly. I was going to say don't tread lightly, Lindsay. No, but I agree with you so much that and I think that's a good description of this entire season, that this season sometimes is going along really well. A certain section will be interesting, and then it falls down a hole, whether it's a hole of dialogue, and usually that's what it's been. One too many conversations, deep sought out conversations. I want one Walking Dead episode, just one damn episode that is action beat from beginning to end. I almost want a season of The Walking Dead to feel like a season of early 24. And I don't want Daryl being like, tell me what you know, I'm torturing you. I don't mean that. What I mean is just the pacing of it. Of just quick action. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, bam, Bigelow. Bam, bam from the Flintstones. Bam, 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 shabam, sit a bam, 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 de bam, 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 shabam, one, bam, 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 bam. This break is brought to you by getting my cat into the room, who is my shit buddy.
Don't have to worry, get your shit buddy. Don't have to worry, get your shit buddy. Don't have to worry, get your shit buddy. Don't have to worry, get your shit buddy tonight.
That break was brought to you by Shit Buddy. If you're in the zombie apocalypse, never leave the camp, house, jail, where are they? The farm, to go take a piss or shit without your Shit Buddy. Okay. Whoa, one gaping hole. That was one gaping hole in the episode. I didn't see. DJ saying she didn't see last week's episode. She doesn't care anymore. Fuck it. I am done. Walking Dead has already been picked up for season 26. There's still a theory where Rick died back in the hospital in just a bad dream. At this point, I would like that. We got Amanda Kane in the live chat. Great to see Amanda. Next week will be an hour flashbacks and hallucinations, just like they did with Carl and Tyrese. I think it will be even worse, or not worse, but it will be. I wonder if we'll see anybody else, or I hope. I think it will probably be Rick in every scene, just from Rick's perspective. Let's see. Rick actually dies when he slips in the shower. It's riveting 45-minute death scene. It's like The Sopranos with Uncle June. I think viewership is going to drop off majorly after Rick dies. I think they're hoping that this episode, and especially next week's episode, is going to draw their biggest numbers of the season and rationalize, like, see, we can still draw big numbers. But I agree. I think the real test of what The Walking Dead's ratings is going to turn into comes a couple weeks into the post-Rick Grimes era. How does the show settle into what the viewership's going to be with this new dynamic? And I think a lot of it's going to be Negan-centric. I think saw a big preview for our new leads of the show with the Negan Michonne show. That's why Michonne, at least at the beginning of every episode, has been in there, showing her face, showing how she's writing the laws of this land, and how when Rick's gone, it's going to be on her through Negan as well to help elicit all that when everything comes to the head with the Maggie situation. And I hope the Maggie situation comes to some head next week's episode too. That's probably what next week's going to be, which could size up to be a good episode. The Maggie versus Negan situation and Rick's fever dreams while he dies, with the Shane return and Joe Dirty Locks back to talk about it all. So Johnny, at least the show is not as bad as Fear the Walking Dead. Let's see. Let's scroll down. Fear the Walking Dead is going to pick up after season 26. Rick's not dead yet, says Birdie. Oh, gosh. I'm going to throw a party. It's going to happen. They could do a time jump where Rick dies of old age or we all die. Abigail, what if Rick and Negan die in the same episode? That could happen, Abigail. They could totally clear the decks and cut as much costs off the salaries. Negan could be the big one that they're not telling us about, that Jeffrey D. Morgan could be leaving the show. I tend to not think that they're going to do that. If you're putting the crossbow in my face and going, make a decision now, asshole, I would say Negan survives and he is a big part of the show moving forward. Excuse me. But I could see it easily go in the direction that there are three, besides Norman Reedus, there are three of their other highest paid actors are going to be leaving after the season, with Jeffrey D. Morgan, Andrew Lincoln, and Maggie leaving as well. Excuse me. So Abigail, I don't think that is would be the strangest possible outcome, and it would be interesting. But I tend to think that they want to do more with Negan. That was maybe some of the allure of when, Rick's gone? Well, we can do a lot more with Negan then. I want to do a lot more with Negan. Kill everyone except for Eugene. Ratings gold. Just have Eugene talk the whole time. Mike says the bridge collapse. Rip gets swept away, wakes up with amnesia, and walks away scot-free. Bliss. Oh, yeah, I can't wait for the Negan show to begin. So excited. I'm so excited for the Negan show. Hero, Suburbia. In the live chat. Great to see. Suburbia. Lindsay, if rumor turns out to be true, there will be another time jump. So good luck getting closure on the group's grief, motherfucker. Tom himself. How many F-bombs? None that I heard. I think he said cockadookey a couple of times. Corey, they should have said he will be in 6 episodes and killed him in the first. That would have been more surprising if Andrew Lincoln said, I'll be here for 6 more episodes, and they just say, no, fuck you. We're going to kill you in the first episode. Oh, one F-bomb from Daryl. I must have missed that. Tim F., great to see you. Hello, Catagate. Great to see Catagate. Chalk Boy. Damn, Rick is holding on to the longer than the Roseanne bar. I just finished watching the episode Predictable Writing, says Catagate. Santovia, I really want to punch Daryl in the face tonight. He took no responsibility for getting Glenn killed. 0. He put it... He didn't. I didn't even think about that at the time, but excellent point, Samburbia. What I combined your name with Samburbia Major. 2 amazing people in the live chat. Santovia Major. Thomas Meadow. Wasn't there an Indiana Jones Harrison Ford Sean Connery moment when Rick pulled Daryl out of the hole? Did anyone get that? I kind of, if he said, listen, Junior. I did get all sorts of vibes in that scene towards the end. I didn't particularly think about it. Indy. We called the dog Indiana. But good call on that one, Thomas. Bum, 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 bum. Fell into a convenient hole. Atari Dad, you want The Walking Dead to be like 24, so you want people in your group to sabotage each other and petty shit and quash. 2 points for Gryffindor there. Very true. I would say that I mean more in the pacing of the show, like the quickness of it and the action, the way the action goes from beat to beat to beat. Lindsay says, oh, right. Yeah, absolutely. Mike says, I saw Halloween today. It sucked. I saw it the other evening, and I wasn't too impressed. It was generally okay. I like Jamie Lee Curtis in it. But anyone watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch yet? Not yet, but I am absolutely going to watch that at some point. It is on the list. I'm backlogged on a bunch of shows and moving, so I have to catch up with a lot of shit. I hope there's some head next episode. Hey, I do too, always. Let's catch up in the live chat here. Whoa, Phil, Daryl said the F-bomb when they were in the hole. It wasn't even a content warning when they came back from commercial break. Abigail says, when Rick dies, everyone's going to be looking for a leader, and Negan's going to take charge because he's the only one that can lead. That's my prediction. Wish The Walking Dead had balls to do it, though. Kill! I kind of agree with you again. Okay. I love Halloween. I had a good time watching it in the theater, but I wasn't. It's not my kind of genre. It's not my go-to genre or my go-to franchise in the slasher genre. I've always been, and this is not neither here nor there, but I've always been a little bit more loyal towards the Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on Elm Street series than, say, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween or some of the other ones. But I do have a lot of love for the first Halloween movie, and I love Jamie Lee Curtis, and she was awesome in the movie. But anyways, that's enough. That's my quick review of Halloween. I generally had a decent time in the theater watching it, but I was with some people that didn't want me yelling and being obnoxious in the theater, and I tend to be especially in slasher movies, I talk a lot in the movie theater. I'm that annoying guy sometimes. This is me in the movie theater. Hey, oh yeah, and people were kind of giving me shh looks and anyways. Bernie says she watched an episode of Sabrina. I'm gonna watch another. Ooh, that is good. Dun 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 dun. But everyone has their own stuff that they like that. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's not waste any more time here. Enough fucking foreplay. Let's stick it in and get into our. I can never do it. I can never push the button in the right way. I always screw this up. Here we go. Recap! Oh my goodness. I was looking around for all my stuff and I realized I'm almost in an empty room here. Yeah, it's sad to not have all my toys around. It's gonna come and jump out with all some shit. Welcome Berg. Hey, great to see you in the live chat. Great to see everybody tonight. Oh gosh. Beautiful faces in that live motherfucking chat. I'm feeling good, feeling silly. Ready to break down this episode, drink a little bit, listen back on some of this silliness, try to put some of this together, maybe have a new appreciation for the episode going backwards or going backwards through it, going back through it. Or maybe I'll go backwards through it. Maybe it'll be better that way as well. So here we go. Let's start off. The episode starts off with another Michonne and Rick sleeping together scene. And this is why Michonne's been focused on a lot at the beginnings of these episodes. She isn't through all of the episodes, but she tends to, I think she's been in every episode we've started, almost every episode with a scene like this, whether it's Rick getting up in episode 1 with Michonne sleeping, or them starting out, or them having a scene together to show their romance or show their connection. But we saw a little bit of a different Michonne tonight, a little bit back to her roots of a character, as we're going to start to try to establish her own dynamic with Rick leaving. And they've they fucked up a lot of the characters, but now they're trying to bring back her whole connection to the dead and how she gets power from the dead and how she was walking around with her bodyguards with the. I don't know if they're gonna bring that back after when Rick dies here, or if Michonne's going to stay to her new self. But they bring in this whole dynamic about her going out and getting power from killing, and having that be the parallel to Negan, which again, in my mind, thinks it's foreshadowing for like obvious clunky foreshadowing for a arc that they're going to go through in the later half of the season with the Michonne and Negan having to work together against a more scary adversary because they're two sides of the same coin. I hope The Walking Dead has more balls than that, and they take out Negan next week as well, as someone mentioned. Hey, Tim. I made sure Worf is sitting in the back there for you because I didn't want you to dislike this video just because there was no Worf there. So that's one's for you, Tim. Dun, dun, dun. Sabrina's gone. More gore than I thought it would. Yeah, I've heard very good things about the gore aspects and that it's pretty good with Sabrina. So I'm eager to check that out. Do we have is there a Salem the Cat in there too? Oh my goodness, yummy. So, but yeah, we get a montage of Michonne or a dream. She tosses, she turns, she looks frustrated. She sees her sword. And Corey Mitchell said at this point, the new showrunner must love opening musical montages. This episode of Dexter, The Walking Dead, is starting out okay. So then we see Walker's eating, which is kind of a cool visual. Michonne's learning and writing, and then the music stops, and she kills some walkers, back to music again, and happy, and it's just choppy chop, slow motion, back and forth. It was a pretty good device. I'm not saying I didn't like the setup here. I thought, in general, it's just a little too familiar. And this is where I think maybe I'm dead inside when it comes to The Walking Dead, that there was just a little lack of joy. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I like this, where we're seeing her do some killing and then doing some wiping out the dead. I don't know if you want to call it killing. Some wiping out the dead and then back into her normal life, and seeing the parallel and seeing how by using that as a therapy of sorts, it helps her have a good time in normal life. And if the show is good on some other cylinders or hasn't hurt me in the past, I might enjoy that a little bit more than I'm saying I did now. I thought that was pretty good and added to her character. There you go. I said something fucking good about it. And it was good character moment stuff. And I generally liked Michonne in this episode. This episode was one of my favorite Michonne episodes in a long time. I thought her character made sense to who Michonne is. I thought she had some good acting moments. She seemed engaged. She had shit to do that actually fit what was going on. And yeah, I thought she had good chemistry with Jeffrey D. Morgan, and they could bounce off each other pretty well. And yeah, I actually all in all liked Michonne a lot in this episode, which is not something I can fucking say. Jason Voorhees, is it wrong I almost took my machete to my own head watching this? Said no. Jason, I understand, dude. It's hard. At least you didn't do the toxic waste dip dump from Jason Takes Manhattan there. Sizzle yourself into just you can come back from a machete to the head. It's tough to do that sizzle. I mean, I guess you can go to hell and turn to some space creature, and now you're back to normal. So I'm glad you're back to normal, and I look forward to your future encounters, my friend. I hope you come back with Corey Feldman one day and can kill his ass. I've been seeing these 2 Halloween remakes. You got H2O and then the new Halloween. Jason, buddy, why can't they give you a movie with Corey Feldman to see you finally kill that little shit? I think it needs to happen. Forget all the other Friday the 13th ones that came after 4 and do another sequel to 4. Friday the 13th part 4.5, where we're called Jason Kills Corey Feldman. That's what I want to see. I think we all want to see that, Jason. So, hey, we got from fucking New Zealand. Great to see you. Fucking popping on in the live motherfucking chat. I'm going to call you PF so I don't destroy your fucking name, my friend. Thank you for popping on in here. 1998 champions. Michonne is still keeping her killing skills sharp. She doesn't want to become soft. The opening sequence with the song was okay, but I feel like the music could have been A better music could have helped out. And that's the fucking thing, Catagate. Good fucking point. The music, some of the music selections, even worse in last week's episode when there was the shiny happy. You might as well have just played shiny happy people holding hands. Like, I don't want to fucking... Yeah. I've thought for the last few seasons the Walking Dead music selection has been suspect. And I'm glad I'm not alone thinking this episode was a turd on the wind. And again, thank you so much for checking this out from fucking New Zealand. Holy fuck. Tim Gersh. Yeah, I enjoyed the Michonne moments in the beginning and the interaction between Eugene and Rick. Too bad they were perfectly placed, the perfectly placed hole for them to fucking fall into, and put a the freeze on the episode to get it to get some conversations, because we needed some dialoguing. We need some montaging. Thank you, Jason. Fuck Corey Feldman. So yes, the music's been bad since season 6. It works against the plot. And thank you, PK. If I did it would be hard. You'd be like, fuck this guy. Why do you even tune in this shit? I'm tuning in from New Zealand and this asshole is fucking up my name. Fuck this hippie asshole. Oh my goodness. Let's go Sox, says Felicia. Thanks, Phil, counting on it. Phil, I would pay double to see that. Yes, I would pay that double to see that too. I would go see it back to back too. Freddie and Jason versus Corey Feldman. I would watch that. And Heather Langenkamp, is that her name? But I wouldn't want to force Nancy into that situation. Nancy just halfway through goes, I'm on their side. Fuck you, dude. I saw License to Drive. No, I love License to Drive. What am I kidding? Who am I kidding? I fucking love it. Anyways, when are we getting the What a Joe? When are we getting? Why am I singing it? Are we getting one? Oh yes, we gotta get one. What did Joe think? What did Joe think? What did Joe think? Was it good or did it really fucking stink? What did Joe think? What did Joe think? Was it alright or did it drive him to drink? We will try to get a What Did Joe Think in this week. Joe and I are also going through each episode of Daredevil. We've done 2 so far. And so Joe is like, I'm going to avoid watching The Walking Dead as long as possible. So we'll try to do that, I would guess, Wednesday or Thursday. Probably not Thursday. Probably Wednesday or Thursday or Friday morning or something like that. We will try to get a What Did Joe Think in. But Joe will definitely be back next week. For sure, if we can't get that in. And also, if you listen to our Daredevil reviews, you'll probably get to hear a couple of Joe's thoughts popping on it. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and check it out. For some reason, the notifications aren't going out on those because I'm streaming them a little bit of a different way than I've done in the past. So so keep an eye out on the channel, especially tomorrow morning and tomorrow during the day, Eastern Standard Time, to check out Joe and I talking some Daredevil. Basically what we're doing is watching the episodes and then doing a 10 to 20 minute podcast, and then watching another episode, 10 to 20 minute podcast. So yeah. But yes, we'll be doing a What Did Joe Think at some point, or you will get to hear what Joe thought. I have a feeling I know what Joe's going to think. So, I have a great night, DJ. The last good song in The Walking Dead was Ben Howard's Oats in the Water. My money would be on Corey Feldman. So my sources tell me that AMC's premier subscribers can watch Rick's final episode. I guess AMC doesn't care if Rick's fate gets leaked. Oof. So the first episode, in full disclosure, they did that for the season premiere episode as well. And in full disclosure, I fucking watched the episode earlier in the day so I could take notes and then watch it live when it was on, which I'd always prefer to do. It's part of the reason when Game of Thrones season 5, all those episodes leaked, I totally watched them all, I didn't watch them all first. I watched them like the week of and took notes the day of the episode, and then watched the episode a second time. If I can get an episode early to take notes so that I can watch it on my own, I'll do that every fucking time. So maybe I'll get to watch the episode early and we'll be talking about it early. No, but yeah, that's interesting because that shit's gonna get leaked quickly. All jokes aside, because that stuff's bad. All jokes aside, the episode's gonna be leaked immediately. If that episode's out now, it's leaked however long it takes to get posted. Joe is good. He's feeling better. I think I'm catching something too. So just in time for Joe to get better, I'm probably gonna get sick. But Joe's feeling, I'd say, about 80 to 90% better. Boom, 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 boom. Here we go. The death will be spoiled for everyone on Trevor and movie. Probably. Is Joe feeling better? Is Joe will definitely be here next week. 100% Joe will be here next week. He's not getting away from it. He's not getting away from that episode. We're doing that shit together. Next week's definitely gonna be flashback poured and emotional poured. Oh yeah, you're gonna get some Joe Dirty Locks in Rick Grimes' final episode, no doubt about that. So we go back. Let's continue through this stuff. She finds some guy hanging at a tree, and she gets tackled by a walker, but the walkers don't bite anymore. They just tackle. They somehow they're not hungry for flesh. They just run into you and they grab you by the shoulders and they hold you now, and you do this little wrestling move, like a grapple move now, instead of worrying about them biting you. So I don't know what's up with these fucking walkers. But anyway, she fights it and she grabs a bat, which at first I thought was Lucille, but it obviously wasn't Lucille, and she drops and she leaves it there. So we go back into Maggie and little Herschel, and it's Good Day Sunshine as Maggie is the leader of all she surveys. She looks over, she feels unlimited power, and she's going to kill Negan today, and Jesus comes over to her, and then they have this wonderful conversation to give me time to take some drinks. Wonderful conversation. Time so I can take some drinks.
Sure. You headed back already?
I just came to pick up a few things.
The crowbar being one of them.
You've done a good job taking care of things here. I'm gonna need you to keep doing that.
Well, you're someplace other than the camp.
I'm gonna make things right, like we talked about.
Like you did with Gregory. Only we never talked about that.
Not asking you to agree with me.
There was a time I did. But Negan deserved to die when it ended. Rick was wrong because
have a good
he made
dinner,
a
Tim.
call that wasn't his to make.
Okay, this is the stuff that. This is where we get into this convoluted nonsense that kind of bothers me. Let's. It's just but Rick thought that I thought that he didn't think, and I believed in him then, and he was wrong then, but now that doesn't mean you're right now, and he's wrong then, and he's right now, and it's all about Negan. And then when we get into the whole Rick, and then Negan needs to survive because Negan dies, he's a martyr, and that's gonna stop, and then everyone's gonna fucking blah. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. Give me a break.
I just want to be sure that you're not wrong in the same way that he was. And I want you to be sure.
Maggie. You ready?
I am. I'll be back when it's done.
Excuse me. Excuse me for a second. This break is brought to you by Fat Tire. Tom asked what I'm drinking tonight, and I'm drinking Fat Tire. That's right. When you want to get drunk on a Sunday night watching The Walking Dead, New Belgium Flat Tire. Fully supported by Phil, the Issues Guy Show. P.O. Box 236, Marblehead, Mass. 01945. Please send all free samples of Fat Tire. This commercial is brought to you by Okay, so he talks and talks and talks to her. So all her surveys, and she's gonna make things right. And Jesus doesn't believe her, but thinks Rick was wrong, but he's right, but he's wrong, but he's wrong, and Jesus no likey. So as Rick and Eugene walk and talk, and I like Eugene in small doses, so let's listen to a little bit of Eugene.
I gather you've gathered the now Russian River under the bridge. Seems Mother Nature served us up a serious bowl of whoop-ass in the form of an overnight deluge, effectively annihilating the upstream levee.
What are the chances the bridge will hold?
Factoring in the undue stress of the rapid current against the supports, plus the added weight from the construction materials and whatnot, I take no pleasure in saying that in the long term, it's bad. I'm sorry.
There's got to be a way.
I wish there
I don't know. It almost seemed like the actor didn't know what the fuck he was saying, but what Jesus, the actor, was saying. He just was making no sense, and he was talking just words. There were no intentions to what he was actually saying and doing, and that was kind of bothering me. Just 1 second, buddy. Keep an eye out for it. I'm gonna have you muted when we start, so give me a second here. Invitation posted. So I think that was the biggest problem for me going with that scene with him and Maggie, and I feel like it's sometimes the biggest problem when you come to some like an acting issue. It's that there is a lack of a connection to what he's saying. It almost seemed like nothing to me. Nothing going on by the rent. So let's listen to a little bit more of this while we get set up for a guest, I believe.
But it's simply not safe to keep on keeping on with the project as it were, not with the numbers we currently have. There is a small silver lining.
Yeah? What's that?
The two nearby herds we've been tracking, one Tybalt and Cordelia, are running parallel as expected, but luckily show no signs of merging, which is first-rate news. Not only for the camp safety, but because once merged, neither Tordelia nor Cordalt had a particularly good ring to them. The herd monikers are from the Great Book of Plays. They're a starter set of dead Shakespearean characters needed in an endless pool.
Thanks, Eugene.
I'm truly very sorry I didn't do more. Maybe if I just read more books.
I'm just a dummy. Let's hold off for this 1 second. I just want to read this comment in the live chat. Ellie says, so Rick saving the day on a white horse, really? Why not just go into a unicorn? Speaking of a unicorn that can join me anytime in bed, we've got the sexy, the one and only, the Walking David, everybody. Here he is. Oh, yeah. The Walking David's there, everybody. Oh, yeah.
Is that Irish?
Oh, here we go. Sorry, David. I think I had your volume up a little bit. How's it going? Welcome, David.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Sorry for being late, everybody. West Coast time difference and all that.
No, the way you're looking, I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to invite you down to their basement to get whipped and chained just for thankful. So David looking all beautiful out there, and look at him in his nice studio, looking nice. Great to have you, David. Thank you so much. We got Steph Snow in the live chat. We got Robert. Phil quit making me go to the hair club for men just from existing. Oh, fuck. There should be a 1-900 number to vote on how Rick Grimes dies. So, David, we haven't talked to you a little bit about The Walking Dead. It's been a while, David. Hope everyone's doing. You can find the link to David's channel right there below him on screen, and it'll be in the description box below after the video airs. And David's been, obviously, his name's The Walking David. You've been a loyalist to The Walking Dead for a long time, and I know you're not afraid to call it out on its bullshit when bullshit exists. How do you feel so far about the new season and your thoughts just in general on the show so far? I think we lost David in a very sexy pose. In a single. Is this happening again? Last time we had, one of the last times we had David, we didn't quite have him all the time. Now we just have frozen David. Look how sexy he looks in that frozen shot. Bam. Okay, so we'll wait to see if David can get his technical difficulties back together in a second here, and I will play a little bit more audio of this scene.
Motivational or otherwise, maybe we could have.
Don't do that.
What?
You're not just a guy who read some books. You made something. You got us here. After everything, that's everything.
Everything is everything. Okay, we lost David, but we'll see if he can pop back on in here in a second. And so that was The Walking David. He shared his thoughts. He's gone. Bam. Oh, we got maybe David's. Yeah, maybe he's thinking real hard. It's possible. He's thinking really hard what his thoughts on The Walking Dead are. So Rick and Eugene are walking. We hear that the bridge is working all right now, but it's ultimately going to fall apart. Some shit's fucking up. Eugene is babbling and babbling. I love Rick's reaction to him when he just kind of gives him the, I don't know, I'm done talking to you. But then he comes back over and goes, no, you're a good guy, Eugene. And he ego strokes him. There was an element of that in this episode too, where Rick's going around tucking everyone in for the evening to have a good night's sleep. So everyone's okay. Let me tuck you in here. Let me tuck you in. And Santovia says, actually, I think that's the best answer possible. I half hope. I love David and I always want to talk to him, but I half hope that he doesn't come back and his only time that he shares his thoughts when I go, David, what do you think of The Walking Dead? It just turns into just his face, just sitting there being like, yep, this is what I think. We go, David, what do you think of The Walking Dead? Come on, David. What do you think of The Walking Dead? Oh no, so I can turn the volume back. I got you again, but I put a picture of you up on the screen too, so in case you.
Oh, did you really? I hope it was a decent one. I have no idea. Sorry about that. For some reason, I think there was a power surge in my neighborhood. My whole apartment flickered, and then it just fucked everything. So
I think it was AMC being afraid of what your answer was going to be in this situation. So
what did I think of the episode, just in general,
or just the season in general? Because I haven't really heard what with the new showrunner and the direction that's going, and with Rick gone from the show. We've talked a little bit about this off the air, but I haven't really talked to you on air too much about your thoughts on Andrew Lincoln leaving the show and how they're going about it. And you can lead it into your thoughts in this episode too, and how they chose to take Rick out.
Well, it's here's the thing. Anytime you spoil, like you as a network spoil, here's what's going to happen to your lead character. Also, he's leaving. That would be like if the show Friends just said Ross, Rachel, Chandler, Phoebe, and Monica are all fucking off, and Phoebe is going to be the main character. And you're like, nothing against the show, but sorry, I came here for the group, for Friends, with the S.
Yeah, we're gonna on The Sopranos. We're gonna kill Tony and Paulie and Sil and all those guys, and Artie Bucco is gonna be the star. We're gonna do
Feach La Manche is gonna be
we're gonna have the Feach show.
And but I think overall this season has actually been significantly better in terms of the dialogue and the characters interacting with each other. I mean, there are some things that I just don't give a shit about. I'm kind of fed up with these saviors and trying to, it's got to work. Because this is kind of Rick going through his Morgan phase of all life is precious. And I didn't like it when Morgan did it.
David, I'm also having a problem with that Saviors plot line. I'll talk to you about this a little bit later when we get into this point in the episode. But I know you could, because you're one of the few people that might understand my problem here. That because of, as some people know or some people don't know, David's best friend is his lovely dog, Johnny Drama. And and on this season, they've suddenly had, he wasn't there last season, but Billy, what was his last name of the show? Billy Walsh, director of Medellin, is there. And he takes me out of the scene every time because I just think, what the fuck's Billy Walsh doing here?
I keep thinking that this is like what happened to him after Medellin crashed.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same universe.
Yeah, this is post, like he made his way from Hollywood all the way to the East Coast. He fled the country basically after Medellin crashed
because he was so upset with how popular Narcos got. He goes, "That should have been me. It should have been me."
I think he should be walking up to Rick like smoking a joint, going, "Listen, suit, I'm not a big fan of it.
I keep
up your bridge, suit."
I keep waiting for him to say that at some point in time. But
I know, I keep expecting him to do it.
But in general, I kind of do agree with you that I think this season does seem a little bit more organized. I still think even if some of the dialogue is a little bit better, I still think it's too much of it and it drags and sometimes is meaningless because there's no direction or or even motivation. I think in this example, right before you came on, I was talking about the Jesus and Maggie scene, and I think he delivers good enough dialogue and Matt, but the intention of what he was trying to say in that moment with Rick, and I agreed with Rick, and I didn't agree with Maggie now, and I don't agree with you. You can tell he's just so confused from the story of what he's supposed to say or supposed to feel that you get the what I call it the George Lucasness of it all, where you get Natalie Portman's eyes blank because she doesn't know her motivation. She's like, where am I? I don't know what to do because I don't have direction. And I get a little bit of that sometimes with some of this dialogue. They don't know why it's saying what it should say, but in general, I do agree with you that I think it definitely seems a bit better. But are they shooting themselves in the proverbial foot by killing Rick Grimes, or are you like Joe in the sense that you think the show could get better without? They need that to try to. They need to kill Rick to make it better, which I don't think.
No, I think killing Rick to make it better. That's like saying, like cutting your foot off will make you walk better. No, that's a horrible idea. I think the fact that they're trying to, here's the thing, like this is what I was trying to say earlier about with my ADD brain, I interrupted myself, is AMC, the fact that you advertised for the general audience, not for people who are super fans and spoiler fiends and search this shit out, the fact that you put in the fucking trailer, Rick Grimes' last episodes.
I don't know and I know you might have watched the episode but I don't know if you saw this. Literally right after the episode aired, the moment they said scenes from next week's episode, the immediate thing that they said, David, was Rick Grimes' final episode. Tune in for Rick Grimes' final episode. It was a different announcer voice. It almost sounded like a game show announcer voice. Like, everybody, check it out. We're going to see Shane. We're going to see Herschel.
I wouldn't have been surprised if after the episode they had Andrew Lincoln step out and get close to the camera and go, that's it. I'm leaving. So you better watch because I'm out of here. Like, I mean, he might as well have like rode in on a green screen, like on the horse, and been like, hey, I'm taking off. It's time for me to go. So tune in next week because I'm fucking out of here. I'm gonna go be Obi-Wan Kenobi. See you later.
There was a couple of those kind of moments where he's almost winking at the camera. Mike V, great to see Mike V in the live chat, popped on in earlier, and I missed one of his comments, but Andrew Lincoln wanted to leave the show. So he did put them in a lurch. I agree that Andrew Lincoln said, dudes, I want off this show. Get me off. I'm done. So they had to figure it out. But it was AMC's choice to put that out there. They had a contract with them. It's not like Andrew Lincoln leaked the information. I mean, maybe he did, but they chose to publicly push that out there. Maybe because they thought it would get out anyway, but they could have chose to deny it and made it a mystery of some sort or fucked with it. Quick story, Star Trek, because I have to bring in Star Trek for everything. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. There was a big rumor, spoiler alert for Wrath of Khan if you've never seen it. There was a big spoiler alert at the time, that Leonard Nimoy's character Spock was going to die in the movie. So they knew it. People knew it. Somehow it was all leaked. So what they chose to do was instead of, they kind of just said, yeah, whatever, they avoided it. Then they killed him in the first scene in the movie, but it was a fake death. And then, so everyone, when you're watching the movie, you're like, oh, he's okay. And then by the end of the movie, when he really dies, you forgot that it was leaked that he was going to die because your mind goes all over the place. There was ways that AMC could have done. Why did I mention that? Why is it important? Because I wanted to talk about Star Trek. But the point is that AMC could have figured out a better way to do it. A way of saying that Andrew Lincoln's going to leave sometime this season, but they gave it a number of episodes. They reminded us after every episode this season, David, this is how many episodes Rick Grimes has left. Tick, 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 tick. They should have been a counter down on AMC for the last few months on the screen with the number of episodes Rick Grimes, like those Christmas things where you open it up and you eat a piece of candy. It's every day. It's how many days till the end of Rick Grimes? They have advertised this so much.
I won't be shocked if during the commercials they go, Rick Grimes has 2 scenes left. That's right, folks. 2. We're getting them out of here. 2 fucking scenes left.
You're joking.
4.5 minutes.
Dude,
that's all we got.
You're joking to a point, but Chris Hardwick in his Talking Dead pop-in right before that final section of the episode, the final act of the episode. They have that Talking Dead pop-in where suddenly he goes, "Hi, hey, this is who's on the Talking Dead tonight. Zippity doo dah zippity a. Rick Grimes has 7 more minutes to the episode. 7 more minutes of the Rick Grimes era."
Hey, welcome back to the Talking Dead. Once again, I did not do it. Anyways, Rick Grimes is going to be leaving this episode. I've got to say this. I've said this before. I think on like 3 or 4 of these when I've been like the guest or whatever. Talking Dead shouldn't exist. I think it's a horrible idea. That's a horrible show. Imagine if it was The Talking Theory and it was all about the Big Bang Theory's last episode. Let's all have Sheldon Cooper come in and talk about if he's going to get with his fucking nerdy girlfriend. Like, they don't do that for shows because why would you fucking do that?
David, when I watch Blossom, I always hope that Sheldon and Blossom would get together finally.
Listen, I want to see what DJ Khaled has to say about The Walking Dead.
Yo, The Walking Dead's off the hook!
Yeah, everyone's like, hey, DJ Khaled, what do you think about The Walking Dead season? He goes, another one.
Johnny Rico says, this episode was boring as fuck. Was bored as fuck. The only thing that kept it exciting was when Rick was on screen. Michonne and Negan couldn't carry this episode. If this was a sneak peek of the boring fest that's going to be like, I don't know. Talking Dead would be fine if it was 15 minutes. Atari Dad makes the best point. I don't think the concept of having a show like that is bad, but I think having it be an hour commercial for The Walking Dead right after, what it has mutated into is horrible. And it's at concept 20 minutes show right after the episode airs to talk about it, but it's turned into a 2-hour block of mutual masturbation instead of letting a show that has the highest ratings on the network lead into another program to kind of like a better program to build ratings or build an audience. You put something
what you need, if you do a talking show, just if you treat it like, let's say you threw David Letterman in and he had to talk about The Walking Dead, that would be a show worth watching because David Letterman, like halfway through it, would go, I can't even read these note cards anymore. This episode fucking reached, you guys.
Yeah. Or if you had Norm Macdonald host the show or something.
Oh, I could not watch that ADD fuck.
So The Walking Dead had a...
But here's the thing. When you have a show that is devoted to either spoiling, having stupid, mundane discussion that 3 random fans in a crowd of the show could have a better discussion about the show, and it's all just sycophants, AMZ sycophants sucking each other off, going, this show is the best thing since sliced bread. It's like, listen, I love the show. My YouTube channel is called The Walking David, and even I wouldn't host The Talking Dead. I think it's a horrible show.
Cattigat says say it what it is, guys. It's a circle jerk. It's okay. You can say it. We all know. Lindsay says, I agree, David. I don't know why they have a talk show devoted to a show. If I want to watch interviews and stuff, I'll check out extras online. Tim says, yeah, well, honestly, Talking Dead is just something to have on for an hour while I'm working out. Talking Dead would be fine if it was 15 minutes. Yeah, absolutely. Great to see everyone in the live chat tonight. Thank you so much. I still think Chandler gets fired plays a major... I still think Chandler Riggs being fired played a major part in Andy leaving. I wouldn't doubt it because Rick probably, or Andy was very upset about that publicly, and he probably was looking forward to working with him in some of the arcs to come forward and didn't necessarily like what he saw on the page for Rick moving forward. So who knows? Or we can take him for word, or the stock answer of every actor when they want out something. I've got to spend time with my family. Maybe. Yeah,
well, that's like a fucking that's like what Nixon said before he flew off in a helicopter as the whole nation watched.
Yeah, everyone. It's the go-to, David, when you don't want to do
something.
I want to
spend time with my family.
I am not a crook.
Yeah. I'm surprised right after he said that a giant wooden cane didn't come out and just yank him off stage. But overall, I would say this for this episode. I don't know if I'm disrupting the format.
Oh, no. We format. Come on.
Well, whatever. Sometimes you play the audio. I know you were doing that when I was.
Oh no, and we're gonna get back to that in a second. I wanted to get you didn't get a chance to do your intro at the beginning, so I wanted you to get a chance for your opening thoughts.
Well, brief bullet point, and I won't get way into it. I'll wait until it's appropriate. But I thought the scenes with Rick and Daryl was clearly Angela Kang going, I have to somehow in these last couple of episodes, right the ship of the last 2 seasons. So we have to have Daryl talk, not just a lot, but about every experience he's had in the last 2 seasons when he didn't say anything. And we need Rick to get mad, get sad, laugh, but then go, I'd die for you, right? And here's the thing. It's one of them in that pit, that literal plot hole.
They needed Bryan Adams to play there. I would die for you. I would die for you.
Careless Whispers just starts fading up.
Yeah.
But
Robin Hood music.
What I thought it was one of their better scenes because that's the kind of character interaction that people want to see. If it's between the two titular characters, if Norman Reedus is in fact going to be the main lead, then you need to have some kind of passing of torch conversations instead of focusing on my name's Mud or Billy Walsh or Mud. I mean Jed.
Mud.
Here's the thing. Explain to me, Phil, why he went, my name's Mud. Don't try to rationalize just why. And then someone immediately after that did what I feel like some smart writer said and goes, his name's actually Jed. Like someone immediately shut that down. So now he's not Mud, he's Jed now. So they introduced him. He gave himself a nickname, bit into a tomato, and then someone goes, that's not his name. His name's Jed. And I'm like, why the fuck did that scene happen? Meanwhile, you got Glenn lookalike sitting next to Maggie. And like Glenn's stunt double, they just bumped him up to an actor. You're treading on the biggest problem this season has with these new actors that they're having pop on in there. There's not the proper introduction, and I think the show's biggest weakness from the start to the finish was they haven't known how to. After a certain point in time, they didn't know how to introduce new characters without having them just be characters. Do you know why they have a hard time introducing new characters, Phil? Because when they're in the writers' room, they're going, let's get this new character in here. But then they go, wait a minute. We want him to die in 2 episodes, so let's not bother introducing him because that'll just waste time because he's going to only be here for 28 minutes out of the whole season. So they don't set him up because they know he's dying
No
already.
one will care. No one will care. No one will notice that.
My name is Mud is an expression. Don't know if David's aware of that. No, I didn't know that. Explain what that means.
It's from a song, or like I think what Atari Dad is referencing is the Primus song. My name is Mud. My name is Mud. But maybe it's an expression I'm not aware of either. But the only reference I know to that is the Primus song, and I don't know if he was making a Primus reference and being like, "You suck," because Primus sucks. Primus sucks. No, they don't really suck, but
like to me, it felt like like in movies when someone goes like, I got, your business, and then they say like it's none of your damn business or something. That stupid joke they do it in like just every random stupid B movie. They have like, I got none of your damn business. That's what it felt like when he said the mud thing, and I go, this is so out of fucking place.
I think honestly, I just think that there's something about his acting that takes me out of the scene too. I think I mentioned that before. I don't like when they introduce characters that way. It's like, I'm supposed to care about this person in this moment. No. Bam.
Sorry, someone said it's an expression meaning you're in trouble. Interesting. I'll do my research when it no longer matters. But I will say this, that ever since season 6, in season 6, there was a scene where they're like trying to lead the herd away, right? And the semi truck crashes and they go running. They're like, it's back at Alexandria, we got to get the semi truck horn to turn off. And this is the literal moment when I started really noticing that they stopped introducing characters well, is some random Walking Dead rando just shows up who's never been there ever, even in the background, and goes, Rick's all fucked up and I don't agree. And then he gets bit like on the face and he goes, ah! And then Rick just comes in and stabs him in the head and then starts taking his bullets and stuff. And I go, what the fuck was that? Like, why did we have that? And nobody could explain it. It didn't have any purpose. It didn't make any character say something. It didn't build up to another character's storyline. It was like that kid in this season who got kicked by an extra holding a horse hoof. You know what I mean? That wasn't anywhere connected to the horse.
Or Ken, or Ken, our big loss earlier in the season, the kid in the first episode that died. Ken, or a little Ken and his family. We lost his family. But getting back into this episode, just to start to talk about the scenes, and we'll be talking more and more about that. But I agree with almost everything David was saying. And let's go over. So the scene that we're in is the Rick and Eugene scene towards the beginning, and Rick tells him he's a good little boy. So we go off to Carol pondering, for her minute of screen time and having her talk. So Rick and Carol can have their final moment of their scene together. And I don't know if you forgot about this, but Rick and Carol had a scene. Let's listen to a few seconds of this.
You leaving too?
Yeah. Taking my people home to the kingdom.
Okay, so she's going to the kingdom. She tells him to basically that he's holding on to something he shouldn't, and everyone's telling him he's holding on to things he shouldn't. I don't know if there's much more to talk about that scene, David. I thought they did this better a couple of episodes ago, and they're hammering in the point of this is Andrew Lincoln's final episode, so they're trying to make him. It's the tour. He has to have a scene with everybody, and
yep, he's making the rounds.
He's making the rounds, absolutely. Okay, so then Jerry comes in and to start the action of the episode. Jerry comes in and tells tells Rick that Maggie's heading to Alexandria. Daryl hears this and he runs over there. He's like, "Dude, come with me."
She's about to do something she might regret.
Hop on. I'll take you.
You sure? You got enough fuel?
Yeah. We'll get there quicker.
And they ride off, but I guess the horse comes too. This is the part I don't really get. Okay, so Daryl and Rick ride off, and they eventually get into a fight and fall into the hole. They climb out of the hole when the herds come up, and they climb up. We'll get to that at the end, obviously. But I thought about this time. Is this like the Legend of Zelda or Red Dead Redemption, where you can whistle and your horse runs to you? Because suddenly when they climbed out of the hole. Maybe I'm overthinking this a little bit. The horse was there. So did the horse just follow them like tra-la-la-la along the road? Or there just happened to be another horse there that just showed up there at the right moment? Or am I overthinking this?
It was one of those saviors horses.
Okay.
Some girl riding a white horse. The one that Rick was going to hop on was brown.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I had a moment of wait, I'll call it. I was ready to rage, but thank you.
Blink for 2 seconds, you might miss like the whole plot of the scene.
Yeah, I didn't know. I lost it. Sorry, everybody. They were talking about the gunshots. That loud motor will attract even more walkers. That was a good horse, Tom. It was a good horse. That horse get the reach around. Oh, there was some horse dick going around Bernie. Well, wait, what did I say? Daryl took him to lead them to the bridge since it's not going to hold. Rick refuses to do that. Just like
it's that horse's final episode, you guys.
Shh. That's the last scene. A moment of silence.
Do that. It's Rick and this random horse's final episode.
Yeah, Bojack. We'll call it. We'll call this horse Bojack.
Yeah, Bojack is gonna die.
Yeah, Bojack's dying in this next episode. That is one good horse. So we go off to Michonne, who's with Judith, and Nora comes over, and you know Nora.
It's not always all bad news.
Nora's got some bad news. It's bad news, Nora. Always again with the bad news. This is another example of what David was talking about earlier. Nora comes over, and we're supposed to just know Nora. Hey, Nora, what's going on?
It's not always all bad news. No. I'm sorry. What kind of day is it gonna be? Mostly bad. We've given up about 1/4 of our tomato crops to the crows.
Okay, giving up the tomato crops, the crows, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I forgot to mention in the Daryl scene, when Daryl rides on the horse, he puts Rick on the back of his bike and rolls away. Daryl's eating an apple, and he does such an asshole move considering food is scarce. He takes one bite of an apple, like puts an apple in his mouth, takes one bite, and then just throws the fucking thing away. Come on, dude. Food's pretty scarce. You're taking one bite of an apple. What an asshole. You can't give that to a kid or something? It's because of things like that Ken died, Daryl.
Hey, I think that little things, and I'm sure some people out there will agree, is that if you're going to have like a rando like Nora show up, have her have a really fucked up face.
Something memorable.
Have something that makes her look like she's been through an apocalypse. She literally looked like a CPA just walked into the show.
Right, she did. She looked very clean. She looked very clean. She looked like she'd been to spa day. She did.
Yeah, so she comes in and she's like, "Hey, I work as the daycare attendant on the set, and they needed an extra actor, so I just walked into the scene." Like it looked like she stumbled into the set and they just left it in there.
Yeah, she had makeup on. She was looking really nice. Like very well. Very well kept. Lady Laura Dane in the live chat. Welcome in there. Everyone knows the first bite of an apple is the best. Yeah, just toss that shit afterwards. It's all about that. That apple was rotten. It was rotten, of course, Phil. You're overthinking it. The apple was fucking rotten. I'm sorry. Doing a show with Joe for so many years has me extra nitpicky sometimes about things like watching Daryl.
Dude, he fucking threw like a fucking apple.
Fucking asshole.
Fucking eat it. I mean, I would have fucking eaten it. I mean, you could have just set it down, fucking douche.
Yeah, motherfucker. I don't know if you can see the screen, but I gave you a Joe mask when you were saying that. So here we go. I'm sorry. The high quality of this writing, Santovia says, I'm sorry, everyone. We got to stop this right now. The high quality of writing on the show has me so emotional this season. And that... I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. Sorry. but I had to do it. It had to be done. But Rick getting killed, the knowledge of it, I had to say that backwards because I couldn't say it normally for some reason. Yeah. Really deballed a lot of the heart here. And I know maybe they were in a no-win situation and they were afraid it was going to leak anyway, and it probably would have. But the fact that they're advertising it really takes a lot of the punch out of it and just makes it all. You knew this was coming, and I think it would have been a better scene if it just came out of nowhere. But whatever.
100%. See, here's the thing. This is just a general complaint of the world that we're living in right now. For some reason, people love getting off on the fact that they aren't surprised by anything anymore. I know everything that's coming. I have every theory for Game of Thrones, every theory for Walking Dead, every theory for Vikings, and Better Call Saul. Nobody can just sit and be engrossed anymore to the point where the AMC is guilty of this all the time, where they hear the outcry of fans, and they go, fuck, we have to acknowledge what the fans are saying, but they always do it wrong. It's the same thing with Dumpstergate. If they had just owned it instead of going like, he's back, everybody, like, because they saw the outcry, they're like, oh, like they were still filming when that happened.
I wouldn't be surprised if they changed their mind and recanonize that scene. I agree. AMC is one of the worst at it. I agree with you. And also, I'm so on board with you there. I could rail on that forever. And I appreciate some people like spoilers, some people like reading, some people don't like that. But for me, I work hard these days not to get spoiled ahead of time because I like to be surprised. Whether it's a joke or a punchline or a piece of art or a movie or I think even more in comedy it's important, but I think in drama and deep stuff it's important as well. That shock to your system. It's the real emotion, not the this is exactly how I expected it to go. Yeah, this is great. So it doesn't emotionally affect you. Our television or movies, it's supposed to make you feel, and if you know shit's coming, it doesn't make you feel.
Here's also the worst thing.
King McKay has the theories. Sorry.
If everybody who is in the Walking Dead fan base who sees this, if you just didn't put the spoiler in the fucking title and you didn't put an image that spoiled it as the thumbnail, things would be better. And it's your direct fault for making it this way. I'm talking to you, 99.9 Gaming, or whatever the fuck you are. Random guy making money on YouTube. It's like those guys, people like that. I've gotten on to Kyle, like Azor hype about this shit with Game of Thrones. I go, don't fucking spoil shit for me while I'm on a thing with you. Like literally on the show, he goes, oh, hey, David, you do a good Jon Snow. Speaking of Jon Snow, did you know that his hair's going to turn white in season 8? And you're like, what the fuck? Why'd you say that? You know, like, it like takes the moment out of it. It's just like a kick in the shin every fucking time. Like, the next episode, things have already been spoiled for me, and I just got done watching this one.
Yeah, and you didn't even see previews for next week where they spoiled half the episode.
I don't even have the TV able to do it.
You see Shane's head in the episode. It's like, come on, everyone knows Shane's coming back next episode. It's no fucking surprise. So sorry, I just spoiled that.
Even they fucking do it. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, Andrew
Jesus
Lincoln
is going to be in this episode too.
Have been allowed. I think some of these actors should never be allowed to do press tours or Comic-Con or anything. Just, they should shut up for forever.
But it should be back in the old days. We need a basketball like movie about actors. King McKay's in the live chat. Great to see King McKay. I got some fucking theories. Oh, Fandom D Saint, aka Broke Blackman 94 with the super chat donation.
Oh, he changed his fucking name. His face is the same in there.
Yeah. Fandom D Saint. Let's spin the wheel. Thank you for that super chat donation. Let's see where you get. I hope it lands on character impression, so we can force David to.
Oh, is that one of them?
Yeah, it is one of them. But it's Joe do character impression, so we'll have it be. It's everyone drinks. So whatever you're drinking, whether it's water, coffee, Coca-Cola, lamb's blood, whatever you're drinking right now, hold it up and toast and drink it up, everybody. There we go. To the Walking Dead.
I have this can of pumpkin.
Thomas says AMC has been the force of destroying The Walking Dead. I don't know, David. Even if they kept Rick's demise a secret, it would have been a no-win situation for AMC, given that Rick was leaving.
But you are seeing an outcry from the fans where they go, literally every episode now, it's Walking Dead has 5 people watching it. Walking Dead has 4 people watching it. It has 3 people watching it. AMC's shutting down its Walking Dead department. I mean, like, has every fucking episode, 20% of the fan base says, fuck you, quit ruining this. Like, the closer you get, they keep acting like it's going to incentivize people to watch. There might be a slight spike after this, but even if it's the biggest fake out in the world, it's Dumpstergate 3.0 or whatever, it's going to fuck them in the ass. You watch. You watch AMC. You're going to be down to 100,000 people watching your shit every fucking Sunday. Because nobody's tuning in for Tara. Nobody's going to tune in for fucking Tara. I ranted to my mom for 3 hours about Tara and how much I hate her and her big tits. I just ranted for forever. I just can't stand her. She's horrible. If you see this, slap yourself in the face for me. Because, I mean, I wish I could smack you out of the show. Like, knock your SAG card out.
I was wondering when you were going to get your Tara hated. And
it's her, fucking Jadis, Rosita. It's like, why? You have women writers on the show. How do you write such annoying women? Like, you make them suck. Lori sucked. Like, Lori was terrible. All your producers are women, and Lori's horrible. It's like, and she's like the main lady. The best thing you did for her was kill her.
Centovia.
Kill Tara. Make her a martyr now.
The live chat's with you, Centovia. I sure as fucking turned it for Tara leader. Laura Dan's laughing. Bernie's damn it, yeah. We got live motherfucking chat. AMC did turn this shit. What, did David Loki just spoil Jon Snow, or is he trolling? No, he's trolling. Jadis.
I'm just bullshit.
Yeah, he made up the most ridiculous thing. I was just gonna call you
heard that from a guy on acid who was at a coffee shop. Yeah, that has nothing to do with
David, watch now. Someone's gonna put out a video.
It's already been spoiled.
It's made. The video's being made. Someone's making it. I heard somewhere that someone said that Jon Snow's hair would be white. Anyways,
what is Tara's Funko Pop gonna fucking look like, Broke Black Man? A big pair of tits underneath a small little shrunken head.
Oh come
on.
Cynical Lindsay preaching on David. So we go on to Michonne, our next scene. Where's our next scene? Okay, so we go to Rick and Daryl riding together, and Daryl's doing some tricks, and Rick notices that they're going in the wrong direction. He pulls over. Daryl faces him, and they messed up with the relay, and then this is where they get into a fight, and they just fall into a gigantic, as David said and a couple other people that said in the live chat, the most apt description is they fell into a giant cavern pit or your plot hole. Yeah, exactly. A giant fucking plot hole. Laurie was supposed to suck, in fairness, says Bliss. You guys are so fucking amazing in the live chat. And I thought Olivia was one of the best female characters. I'm so pissed they killed her off so soon. She was an interesting character, and they kill her because she was too interesting. They're like, you're making sense. We got to kill you. So we come over to it. Speaking of another hole, we go into the hole with Negan and Michonne as she pulls down the food, and we get a Negan scene. So, David, I don't know if I've heard since last season. We haven't talked much about Negan, but let's listen to this Negan scene, and we'll talk a little bit about this. I generally think these were some of the better scenes of the episode.
The hunger strike ends today.
But I don't know if I'm just starving and I'm getting a cracker. But
What is this?
I don't like Negan, but I generally like Jeffrey D. Morgan. So I don't know. He's less Negan, like he's been in the previous 2 seasons. In the couple scenes we've seen him in this episode, he's more reserved because he's been beaten down in a jail cell. So I guess he's more palatable to me, if that makes sense. I don't know.
What it is for me is how I felt about Negan this season, or in these little snippets we've seen. I think it's 2 or 3 scenes at this point now. Most of them were in this episode. It's exactly how I felt when King Ezekiel lowered his guard around Carol and talked like his normal self.
Yeah.
And I go, there you go. Have him do that. Have him be a normal person. This, God damn it, I'm fucking leaning. My fucking back hurts from leaning so fucking much. Like, I can't. That for 2 fucking seasons. Jesus Christ. Like, you know, like, dude, the guy literally did this. I'm sorry, Phil, I have to do it. But a guy did this in a show watched by millions of people. He goes, I'm bigger. I'm badder. And I've got a bat. That's a line in a television show. A television show that has millions of dollars devoted to it. And that's the best they could do. And they shot it like on an iPhone from the back side of his head. It's like a shot that doesn't even exist in film. It's fucking weird. Like that whole Jesus. Yes, these scenes are better. Yeah, these scenes are better. However,
the Jesus scene was. Oh no, you're not different. Just different Jesus. You're saying.
Well, like.
No, I was joking. I thought you were talking about Jesus, the character Jesus there for a second.
No, Jesus in this. Oh God.
No, we don't have to talk about Jesus.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about him because there's nothing to talk about.
There's nothing to talk about. He's not. Then I quit the show. Brooke says, honestly, I thought this was a pretty good episode. This ain't sucking AMC, and I thought this was an alright episode too. And that's why I said I'm almost a little apathetic to it. I generally thought this Michonne and Negan scene was pretty well done. And to go with what David was just saying, when Negan's not dancing and talking about his big bat, but he does talk about his big bat later. We'll get to that scene in a bit. But
yeah, he ends up doing it. I forgot about that scene. My brain already repressed it like a rape.
Yeah. He talks about it. He does talk about his bat. And I'm liking the Walking David in the motherfucking chat. Awesome. Walking David is our go-to fill-in host on Walking Dead. Whenever Joe can't be here, Walking David's always my first call, so it's good to have him here for the first time this season. This will not be the last time David joins me on a Walking Dead episode this season. So we got, and yes, David and I still one day, maybe in 2035, will do a Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Did someone ask about that? Did someone say that?
No. Someone messaged me not that long ago about it though. It was like,
really, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I love that you get a message every 5 months.
Every 5 months or so, this dude's like, are we gonna get to that Back to the Future thing? We are. One day we will.
These years.
So we continue here. So Rick and Daryl are stuck in the holes. Oh, wait, I forgot to mention. So Negan's not gonna eat his food, and she says, "Eat the food," and he says, "Well, if you listen to me talk, I'll eat the food." And she eventually agrees to give him like 20 minutes. So then Rick and Daryl get stuck in a hole, and David was talking a little bit about the scene. So let's listen to a little bit of this.
They're the only way we're getting out. Not too high up, though. God damn it.
It was a really awesome fall there.
You set that up too?
It was real looking.
And you really laying this on me? You're the one that had to go chasing after her. Couldn't just let things be.
You know what keeping Negan alive means to us.
I know what seeing him dead means to her.
Daryl, I get why she can't accept.
Okay, this is the thing I want to listen to here. When he starts trying to explain exactly why he keeps Negan alive, it just seems like a stretch to me. It seems like a stretch for forced drama.
I do.
Do you?
Her never coming to Alexandria, her hanging Gregory the way she did. I know. I'm not blind.
I'm not blind.
You sure as hell been acting like it. Man, your ass wouldn't even be alive if it wasn't for Glenn. You wouldn't have found Lori. You wouldn't have found Carl. And you sure as wouldn't have found any of us.
That was a fuck, by the way.
That was the fuck. Yeah, someone said the fuck. And I guess the added line there should have been, I know I take responsibility for my part in Glenn's death, but you should understand why me and Maggie both want revenge. He should have put himself onto it, but instead he took himself out of the equation and kind of put this all onto Rick, as David was mentioning earlier.
He did that. Or did you forget?
Of course not. I think about it every damn day. And Maggie, I hate what I did to her, what I took from her, but it's what I had to do.
Okay, why'd you have to do it, Rick? Why'd you have to do it? Let's explain it, because it clearly explain to us why he decided to take away his friend Maggie's revenge after they killed 1 million foot soldiers and all these other saviors, and they had Negan dead to rights. And why didn't you get Maggie the opportunity to seek revenge on her the death of her husband?
Know what she has to do.
What, you're okay with that?
Why the hell wouldn't I be?
You spared Dwight after Denise, after what he did to you.
You mean locking me in a damn closet? Parading me around so I couldn't say nothing? Man, you got that guy sitting in a cell like a damn symbol.
Yeah.
To all them assholes who can't wait to see things go back to the way that they were.
Keeping him alive is how we make sure it won't.
No. Keeping him alive is giving him hope that it will.
Michonne talked to her. She came to camp. She was coming around.
Yeah, well, she was trying. The truth is, she just couldn't live with it. Just like Oceanside.
For Carl.
Oceanside.
So then we get into all of this stuff. So I'll play a little bit more of this in a second. So do you think, let's actually examine this for a second. Does Rick have any validity to his point here in your mind? Or do you think this is just a fuck up? He should be killing Negan and let Maggie do what she needs to do. Do you think Rick has any point here, I guess?
I feel that, honestly, if I were to do it myself, I would see Maggie hangs Gregory. She says that whole crime, punishment must fit the crime. And I feel like Rick should have almost brought back kind of the Old West or executioner's block thing where he sort of goes, he reads him his rights, where it's sort of like we are showing him in front of everybody. You gather everybody around, just like what Negan wanted to do with Rick, which was kill him in front of everybody to make an example of him. That's why he called him Rick, the Widow, and the King. Mm-hmm. He wanted their heads all on the wall of this sanctuary. So what you do is you have Rick read him his rights and basically say, because he did this, he gets the death penalty. Anybody who does anything like that gets the death penalty. And executes him in front of people, but it's completely just. Maggie gets what she wants. She can be the one to pull the fucking cord, but Rick is laying down the law.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, it's not put him in a jail cell and let him survive there. That's
no. Yeah, to show him, what he's missing, or to show him, listen, people are not a symbol if you're keeping them in jail. That's like if you said, "Oh, we're making an example of Jeffrey Dahmer." No, we're not.
No, it's an ego thing for Rick, so he can constantly be shoving his dick in his face, and it's not good. It's not good. It's a bad fucking character moment. Lindsay says Rick brought up a good point about Dwight, and Daryl's response was completely convoluted. It hurt my brain. It was. He could have easily just said, and he said it all weirdly. He could have easily said something along the lines of, "It's not the same thing. What he did to me doesn't compare to killing him and bashing his head in with a baseball bat." But instead, you're right. His answer was all stupidly convoluted. Let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Yeah, Sorry, I'm grabbing a fucking Neo
They're
fit
saying
thing.
Oceanside killed those saviors. Hurrah.
I'm saying they got what they deserved.
You knew, and you didn't say anything.
Truth is, I couldn't live with it either.
If this doesn't work, if she kills Negan, he becomes a martyr. The war was for nothing. Every person who died for nothing.
I'll say this. I want to give him credit where it's due. Andrew Lincoln, once again, man. Do you see this level of acting that he's bringing to the show compared to everybody else? This guy is a grown-ass man who's seen tons of horrors in his character's life, and he's about to choke up and break down with the only person he considers family to him.
His brother.
In this, his brother. You know, they even call each other brother in this scene, and I thought this part of the scene was extremely touching, regardless of the writing or where the story's going. The acting here was what this scene needed.
I agree. Everything I said about the Carol scene, it would not say here about this scene. This scene, it was great. They can do as many Daryl and Rick moments as they want until the end. I think both actors work well off each other, and it was great to see Norman Reedus actually do some acting and not grunting. And when he wants, he can pull it off and has a good sort of 1-2. But some of his dialogue again is he's rough with some of the line delivery and mumbles a lot of exchange at the end. But I'm like, what was he trying to say? As Lindsay was saying, sorry Tim. As Tim says that every time someone compliments Norman Reedus, an angel dies. So I'm sorry Tim. And
Norman Reedus is always like this. Is always like, you know, I would have died for you, Rick. And we got.
Daryl, you're my brother.
My brother, Daryl. I love you. I love you too. He's kind of doing like a Steven Seagal a little bit. You gotta fucking go.
And Rick keeps crying and crying and crying, mumbling Daryl as Cattigat says.
At least he's fucking talking, dude. At least, I mean, I don't. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, at least he's talking. That's what I say.
You don't think after all the shit we've been through, we couldn't handle it?
It reminds me of in the Cannibal the Musical DVD documentary when Matt Stone and Trey Parker are ragging on their own acting. They said, "Listen to us mumble." We read some acting book that said if you mumble your lines, they sound more important or something.
I think that's kind of true.
Asking us to have faith in all these other
people. There's a dynamic to that. It's not quite Meisner, but there's something there.
Stanislavski.
Yeah, it's not. That's the actually. It's Stanislavski.
That's not true.
I'd die for you.
I would die for you. I would die for you. They needed to have Bryan Adams come in and play the guitar right there. And that needs to be made. Right there, the kick in. Oh God.
I would have really enjoyed seeing a close up of Rick, like when he hears that line, like it really hits him hard. You know what I mean? Like when he says, "I'd die for you," and I would have died for Carl, and you know that. I think, like, that's some crucial fucking dialogue to these characters, man.
Yeah.
You need this stuff. I mean, it kind of makes me wonder why you had them interact at all and didn't have them talk this way the entire time.
Yeah,
you know?
why didn't you have them have the discussion a long time ago? Because Daryl says to him what people have need to say to him. What you're striving for with this future that Carl saw isn't something that's realistic, and you're not honoring anything by continuing to push this. So, yeah. So our next scene here is more Michonne talking to Negan. So let's listen to a little bit of this.
More boring than my day. You're the one that's stuck in here with the C team while Rick and his merry band of bridge builders are out there.
He gets his one line in there.
Why is that?
You think I'm stuck?
I think that I'm not meant to be rotting in this cell. Just like I think the warrior in you is not meant to be planting kale and kissing boo-boos.
You think that's all this is? We're reordering the world. Rebuilding government and creating laws. We're at the start of everything, and nothing is holding us back.
And I generally think this is another one of the scenes I generally like. The dialogue's a little, overly, hyped up there. but I think both of them are very competent actors right here that understand their motivation and are fucking connecting really well and having a good back and forth. I like where each one's taking the scene and where this goes. I thought these were some of the highlights.
They're making bold decisions and they're sticking to it, which is nice to see some consistency. At least they've been consistent this season. The only person who hasn't has been Jesus.
Yeah. Where?
We're rotting in here with nothing.
I'm an old man, Michonne.
I can't deal with this anymore. Addiction with Ken Walkers as we're filling up the space.
Only my beard grows, not the hair on my head, Michonne.
I'm grateful my wife didn't
Someone's coming in to cut. Rick's coming in to cut my hair once in a while.
As opposed to the asshole.
And then we get a little bit more information with about his wife, and I like how she calls him an asshole here. Just the line read on her calling him an asshole was very, very natural. She's like, glad my wife's not alive. What, they see you're not an asshole? How she says it, I like it.
Were before.
Yeah, just her line read there, really awesome.
She was an angel.
And his manipulation tactics are on point. He knows how to do it. He knows how to manipulate people. And it's more obvious in these scenes with Michonne right now that we've seen than for me it was in all of season 7 and 8, where he seemed way more, why would people follow him? This seems a little bit more like I can understand the manipulation aspect of Negan here. But anyways, so let's continue on here through it because we're going to talk about them again at the end. So we go over to Gabriel and Jadis as she looks at him knocked out and he wakes her up. And we have the Jadis, and Jadis is going to kill him, but she decides not to because he gives her a speech. Is that what happened there, David? David, wake up! We've lost David talking about this scene. David's about to turn into Joe in a second here.
Yeah, I am, because it's just, fuck off already, okay? Like, I don't care about Gabriel, and I don't care about Jan or Jadis or Ann or whatever she fucking goes by. I mean, she'll have a new name in 2 episodes. She'll be like, my name is Bethany, actually, but, Jadis is my middle name and Ann's my pseudonym, or, nom de plume in high school. It's...
Hey, okay.
I'm just so fucking tired of it. I'm so tired. The bucket on the head of the walker, it's like they forget what show they're writing. Jadis is straight out of Fear the Walking Dead, okay? That character should have been in Fear the Walking Dead. It never should have been in this show. I'm glad all of her people became mush. That was the only interesting thing about her, was watching her just like barefoot tap on a pole and everybody just funnels in.
Not to mention, this thing has been the biggest red herring twice. It got sicked on Rick twice and he killed it, and now this time she just sticks it in its face like the alien looking at Rick, Sigourney Weaver's face for a second. It was just a brief little moment there, and yeah, I don't know, I wasn't really feeling this scene. I haven't felt their dynamic. I feel like it's been forced and ham-fisted in these characters. The only thing I like about the Jadis storyline is the whole helicopter and where all that leads to, and the A and the B shit was kind of interesting in the last episode. But really, when it comes down to it, I don't give a shit. And a couple of hellos in the live chat. Great to see AK in the live chat. Patricia, great to see you. Great to see Tyler Jarrett. Broke again. Who's honestly, I could care less for Father Gabriel. I only liked him for being a Catholic priest out of bias because he ain't no Catholic priest, considering him selling his Funko Pop. I'm selling his Funko Pop too. Ian Throne in the live chat as well. Mike V. Gabriel needs to get a patch for that eye. I don't want to see it anymore. It needs to stop. And David, do you have any thoughts on these two, or should we just move on?
Stop it, AMC. I'll say this: anything's better than Tara, man. But this is just a notch beneath Tara as far as interest. Like, here's the thing: it could have been okay, but the moment Jadis, double flipped again as far as her motivation, put a bullet in her stomach and just let her fucking turn and have her walk into the little munch compactor and have her turn into a little, sloppy Joe or whatever.
She's a triple agent. She's like that character in Indiana Jones in the Crystal Skull. The guy Jonesy, or not Jonesy, the older guy that he's like a triple agent. I'm on your side. I'm not on your side. I'm on your side again. I'm not on your side again. I hate characters like that. It's so annoying. And speaking of annoying, let's listen to her.
You open your heart to let people in.
Don't you see? I didn't make it that way. Others did.
And it sucks too because Terry Gilliam, is that his name, or Gilliam or whatever his name? He is a really good actor, and I think he's wasted in this character. He is awesome on Oz, and he is amazing on The Wire, he's just a very talented actor, and this character, I've never enjoyed him on screen for some reason with this character, and it's all down to how it's written.
Do you really want a show where Jadis gets to fucking live and Rick dies?
Oh,
do you really want to watch one-eyed fucking Gabe, who we all know is gonna live, because in the fucking trailer to your goddamn season, you show him with a white beard, you fucks.
That's like,
assuming he doesn't have a white beard on, it means he hasn't gotten there yet, and we know he's gonna live.
David, are you just trolling people because you were really dropping more spoilers about the Jon Snow white hair? Spoiler alert that people are gonna make videos on.
Jon Snow is a Baratheon. There, I said,
oh, he did it.
Listen.
Free spin of the wheel on that one. Oh, we're getting a free spin of the wheel right there. Okay.
Let's see what it lands on.
Let's Phil drink. Oh, I guess I have to drink. Okay, so I can take one more drink, and I also need to go in the other room and get a beer in a second. So I'll set up an audio clip, and we'll and we land on character impression now. So The actor who Gabriel plays is an ass, so forget it. The casting of Jesus was off. I'm sorry, but the dude from Vikings who plays Rollo would have been a great Jesus. Jadis is a waste of space. I feel bad for saying it because I like the actor, says Broke. AK says, the show sucked when they killed Carl. Now it's even worse that Rick and Maggie are leaving. I had no drive to watch anything this season. It's okay, AK. You don't have to watch the episode to pop on in my motherfucking chat. Lots of love to AK. And so we're back on Carol and her Kingdom crew as she gets her bad spider sense as Billy Walsh comes in, pissed off as all hell. Billy fucking Walsh. And suddenly, this is really weird. Suddenly, Billy Walsh has an accent. Up until this point, he talked like Billy Walsh, but he comes in this next scene and he has some sort of southern accent he's trying. And I'm not saying this guy's not a bad actor. I really generally like him in Oz. Not in Oz, in Entourage, and he was in that Tupac and Biggie detective series that was on FX. I think it was FX or TNT last year, and he was really good in a small part on that role. And I've seen him in other things, and he's really good in other things. There's something just he's not committing in the walk. He's taking a piss out of it. He's like Ian McShane on Game of Thrones, even though Ian McShane's awesome anyway. But I just mean there's some element where he's like, yeah, I'm in The Walking Dead, motherfucker. I'm Billy Walsh. Or maybe he's acting too much like Billy Walsh, like drunk Billy Walsh, or it's taking me out of it a little bit. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's personal. And for some people, they're like, oh, no, he was fine. But he
lost me at the line, my name is Mud, and you're the widow.
Motherfucker.
The dumbest thing I've ever seen. And I'm sorry, watching a guy eat a tomato with a gross beard and just holding on it for a little too long, it was a bad introduction, man. I thought it could have been cool. He walked into the road with a fucking axe. I thought something cool was going to happen.
Yeah.
They just eat the fucking tomato like that's like a threat. If I eat a banana in front of you, Phil, what, are you going to shit your pants? It's not fucking scary.
It's the potassium. It's the transmitted. It's secondhand potassium. Makes me.
He doesn't. Man, that guy doesn't even shake when he eats that banana.
Every time I see David eat a banana, I take a shit. It's a Pavlovian dog response. It's the secondhand potassium I get. It's real. Don't. It's another way of let me see if I can be quick enough for this to still be funny by the time I hit on it. He's another way to be somebody's.
Don't have to worry, get your shit, buddy.
David, every time you eat a banana, you're my shit buddy.
Don't have to worry, get your shit, buddy.
Okay.
Anytime I hear this now, I'll think of myself.
You should.
I'll think of you thinking of taking a shit.
You should. It's to
Don't have to worry, get your shit,
it'll be our special
buddy,
memory.
tonight.
It'll be our special memory.
Who the fuck made that sound bite?
It's from a song. I'll send you the link to an old video that we did on the channel where we called the Shit Buddy video. I'll try to remember to put the video link in the description box below if you have never seen it before. But just check it out. If not, if you can remember right now, or anyone, any of the mods in the live chat broke, if you can find a link to that and pop it in the live chat, that'd be awesome. So we come back in, we see Carol and her kingdom crew. Brooke's like, "You're making me do work? Fuck you, asshole. I'm not doing no fucking work." No. So we come back in, and the savior dude's here, and we see Billy Walsh, and let's listen to a few seconds of
as
that
quick
shit.
as you. Surprised me too.
How about we all lower our weapons?
I'll be right back.
Nobody gets hurt today.
That's right. Listen to the woman. Drop your guns. Party's over. See, I took the scenic route, but I figured it out. Oceanside's killing us. So now, being that it's war, they're gonna get what's coming to them.
Stop it, Jed. You're gonna get everybody killed.
I think Vince is perfect for this part.
You ain't boss
I am
lady
Queen
no
of
more.
War.
Drama. No way you get a role.
A woman who got in a lucky shot.
Yo.
And now, listen to what I say.
Exactly. Suddenly he has nothing. Listen to what I say.
Step aside.
Hey, everybody. This is Phil, the Issues Guy. But actually, I'm talking like that. No, guys, this is Phil. I'm going to talk like this for the rest of the show randomly. I call it the Halle Berry accent from the X-Men movies, where sometimes she wants, when she wants to sometimes have the Storm accent, sometimes she doesn't, and then by the last movie, she's just like, yeah, fuck it. I'll just talk like Halle Berry. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I acclimated to America nicely.
Yeah, exactly. Stockholm Syndrome. They'll deal with it. It's called How to Survive in the Zombie Apocalypse, Broke. I can try to find it. Okay, so we come back in. They see the spider sense. We hear gunshots, and Daryl and Rick hear the gunshots, and they say, "Oh, that herds are going to be attracted to those gunshots. So we need to get out of the hole. We need to now we need to get out of the hole." So I don't know. There's not much else to say there. So we see Michonne. so they decide they need to get out of the hole again. So I don't know. What the fuck? What the fuck, David? I don't know. So let's continue here. Anyway, let's go in the live chat for a second here. Lindsay says, anyone else who's scared for Carol? Oh my God, I was shaking in my boots and almost shit my pants. I expect either Carol or Ezekiel to die. Just to mention Ezekiel for a second, because David mentioned him, something I forgot to jump on. I have liked Ezekiel a lot this season when we've seen him, because he's dropped the "thou art mortal, what a piece of work is man" bullshit. And when he's talking like a normal person, I generally enjoy the character, and I think the actor has a lot of life to his performance. And
did I tell you I actually ran into Kari Payton, who plays Ezekiel, like out here? I was walking Drama, and Drama came running up to him, and he's bald in real life. He's got the big beard, and he was with his wife or something. They lived close to where I lived, around the block, and it was really funny. He goes like up to Drama. He goes like, "Ha, this one is full of love," or something like that. He said he talks like that in real life.
And you just turn to him. You go, yeah, shit, dude. What the fuck? You talk like this in real life too?
It was all I did is I was just like, oh yeah, he's got a lot of energy. And then as I was leaving, I went, "Your Majesty," and then I walked off.
Awesome. Awesome. And thank you, Broke. Broke popped in the Shit Buddies video in the live chat right now. If anyone wants to check that out, you can do that. Yeah, and David can check that link out in the description box and check that out. And you can see Joe Dirty Locks and Taka John C. John Riley in that video as well. And okay, so King Ezekiel needs to get his comic death, especially with the whispers, is a little hint. I don't want to talk too much about that, but there's a good little hint out there from Cattigat. Patricia says, I'm not currently watching, but I plan on doing it after the mid-season ends. If they kill Carol, count me out for good. But what I meant to say is I expect something bad to happen to Carol or Ezekiel, one of the two, because happiness won't be able to exist long-term in The Walking Dead. So Michonne sees her sword and gets inspired to go back to see Negan. So they have one final scene together where she gets a little bit more into fucking with him.
Why did you say those things?
So let's listen to a little bit of this.
I wasn't trying to piss you off. You should know that.
Why do you care what I think?
Because you never come down here. It's always Rick or someone else.
So tell me why that matters.
I shouldn't have brought.
And she starts to try to play him in this situation, and I guess the scene's supposed to play out like this is her taking control, understanding that thinking he might be genuine for a second, but ultimately realizing he's playing another game and calling him out and realizing all he wants is her to find sympathy to give him Lucille, and he doesn't get Lucille.
So, you weren't ready to hear it.
Hear what?
So we're the same. All or nothing.
Oh, Johnny
You
Drama.
were trapped. Same as me. You're connected to the dead. Same as me.
Hey, wonderful Bug. Great to see you in the live chat. Igor. Great to see you, Igor. That's why they're doing the Love Boat shit for Gusty Comic Moments.
We are the same, and you can't stand that we're the same.
No. We're not. Yeah, we do what we need to get shit done.
I don't know if I'm just...
But you get a kick out of it. Me? I'm trying every day to make things better. Thinking of ways.
Do you think this device, if you'll call it that, no, or it's almost a central plot point in a lot of stories, so it's tough. No, I don't think it could ever be out of focus, because no single story, everything's been done in the sun, and so you can't overdo something. But I'm getting a little sick of the simplistic way that stories rely on the two characters that are opposite sides of the coin, because I think it's been done so many times in a simple way that that's not good enough anymore. You have to step it up, and no spoilers here, but I'm mainly talking about Daredevil season 1. I know Daredevil season 3 kicks ass too, and Wilson Fisk is a big part of it. But I think when you do something the way you did Matt Murdock and Vincent D'Onofrio or Wilson Fisk, that's an interesting, cool way of doing that. In The Dark Knight with Batman and Heath Ledger, I think that's the impetus for this take that we're into it now. That is the inciting moment in media, which happens sometimes, whether it's music or whether it's a movie moment or a television moment. Sometimes something's so popular or so iconic that then you see a lot of replays of that moment. And I think for this time period, it was a cross between that Batman scene in the movie Heat with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, and everything's trying to recreate those kind of moments. We're opposite sides of the same coin, you know? Us, we're the same, David. You and I, we're just opposites.
Anytime I think of it, I think of the Joker and Batman in The Dark Knight having a conversation like, don't talk like one of them, you're not, even if you want to be. Everybody's trying to get that kind of dynamic in their stories. Here's the thing, though. It doesn't make any sense why Negan would go, we're the same. They clearly are not.
No.
They clearly are not. Like,
No. No, what? Because they both get power.
Like, Negan might as well have said, we're the same because we're both women.
David, you play golf, I play basketball. We're the same. We both play sports. We're the same.
Yeah.
We're the
Except
same.
you, Phil, when you play it, you get fucking kick out of it. When I play it, I'm there to fucking help the future. What? Like, what just happened?
Exactly. But we're the same, David. But we're the same.
You're over there. Listen, we're the same. You're over there shitting in a bucket in the cell. I'm out here writing a constitution. We're the same. You're white, I'm black. We're the same. You're a man, I'm a woman. you're a piece of shit. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm a father to a girl. Yours is dead, or you don't have one. You use a bat. I use a sword. You know, like it's like there's only differences between them. There's almost no overlap in their Venn diagram, other than they both have lived in this world.
Right, and they both get some sort of satisfaction out of killing zombies and get power from it.
But the thing is that they never established that with Negan.
Not even not even a little.
Not even when he went out and he backhands a zombie and goes easy peasy lemon squeezy. Back when we first saw him, you know, and he goes like, I just did y'all a service. Boom, there you go.
TikTok, suck my cock.
Yeah, I just slid my dick in your mouth and you liked it or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Something
you
about his dick.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: they never established that Negan in his spare time, like Simon comes and yammers at Negan, Dwight comes and yammers at Negan, and Negan goes to think out in the woods with Lucille and just proceeds to beat the shit out of walkers. We never had that scene, never had that moment. He's like, I'm tied to the dead now. It's like, no, are you just making up characteristics of yourself?
Almost as unbelievable as all of that, David, is if you see the sandwich that Michonne gives to Negan. Did you see how perfect that bread is that they're making in this zombie apocalypse? It's perfect. It was watch that again. That would almost.
Listen, we have a bread maker.
We have an artisan baker that has sesame seeds and a professional. I guess it's not too far to imagine that they could have a professional or an actual machine cutter.
Do we all remember Nora? She's also a 5-star chef.
Yes, okay? she has a Michelin star. She has 3 Michelin stars.
You know, they have one working stove. Yep. And she knows how to work it. And, you know, the blacksmith made a medieval version of a kiln.
And,
so that
the bread was never raw. It was never raw. It was never raw like the risotto. So I could tell the whole thing. The sandwich looked better than anything I have at my house to eat, says Mike V.
Yeah, I haven't eaten anything that looks like that today.
VF Warlord says, yeah, your name is mud means you're dead meat, an old expression from the 1970s. Thank you for that information. In my best Dana Carvey doing Johnny Carson, I did not know that. I did not know that.
That's some weird wild stuff.
Oh yes, you are correct, sir. Yes. So now I want to watch that episode to see the sandwich. It was a delicious sandwich. It really was.
Yeah, I think it had deli mustard on it.
Yeah, it was yeah. It was easy breezy lemon squeezy. It was delicious. So we
also said that she brought him like V8 or something, like tomato juice.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn, he's living pretty good in that prison.
He is. If I was in the zombie apocalypse, he doesn't have to fight walkers. He's getting 3 squares. He's hanging out. He's got stuff to read. You know, it's not too bad for Negan these days. Anyways, Santovia says, seems like these writers don't know how to keep these women as iconic badasses. Carol, Maggie, and Michonne are shells of the women they were on the road. Catechus says that sandwich is the highlight of the episode. Med says, I still eat egg mustard sandwiches thanks to Dwight. Johnny Rico says, they're finally trying to show Negan's obsession with Lucille after 2 seasons of him. Dumbass writers for finally showing it. And I agree. I think this is the highlight. These 2 scenes are my favorite 2 Negan scenes. And I know there are some people that are fans of him in the last 2 seasons, and I'm not disregarding that. People let me know in the comment section if you're loving Negan or if you've loved him the whole way. I know the people that do have been vocal about that, and awesome. And like I said, I definitely like Jeffrey D. Morgan, and I think he tries so hard. I think he's a little miscast in the Negan role, but that's just my opinion. But I think he was really awesome in these couple scenes, and I think he's been awesome this season in his few appearances.
People together.
Less is more. Less is more if he's playing the character this way. If they chose to do a different take on Negan in the not what Henry Rollins could do as an actor, but in that more of a vibe, more of a bully, threatening kind of someone that actually made you feel danger instead of silly comedy. And someone that could actually handle some of the comedy stuff with more of an edge to it. I've said many times, there's a couple people that come to mind. I know John Hamm was talked about it at a point in time. I think John Hamm's a good example of someone that could have killed this role in really well, but I think it's not because he's not trying, and I think he kills it in these scenes. I guess that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I want to say this really quick. Also, if Negan had looked remotely like he did in the comic books, if he was like Ben Affleck size from Batman v Superman or something, and then you start this season and he's as skinny as he is now, it would be jarring as shit. You'd go, oh my God, he's starving to death. He's having a horrible time. You'd infer a lot of these things. The problem was he weighed 100 pounds wet the last 2 seasons. His leather jacket weighed more than the lower half of his body. And he looked like a snake.
Yeah.
So it's like when you see him skinny in the cell, he was skinny before. He just has a beard.
Yeah, he should look. Negan in his prime should look like young Henry Rollins, like when Rollins was fucking crazy.
That's what the Kirkman said.
Yep, and yeah, he didn't get big. It would have been great if Jeffrey D. Morgan kind of pulled, or anyone that played the character pulled a Christian Bale and just kind of gained crazy weight and then lost crazy weight between the seasons, or did something like that.
That would be awesome, because you see the sunken cheeks and you'd be like, because they're talking about how he hasn't eaten days,
and I think, and I think someone like John Hamm is a talented enough actor that he would have been able to somehow do something to change his body in a way and then break his body down a little bit. He's just one example. I've also mentioned a million times that I think Garrett Dillahunt Hunt would have been an excellent choice for Negan, and I know he lobbied hard for the role, and I think he's an underrated asset as a performer and would have brought a crazy energy to the character of Negan and made him an extremely interesting character. But
is that the Fear the Walking Dead?
He is on Fear the Walking Dead now. I'm not sure what his character's like, but I remember him best from Deadwood and Raising Hope, as among other things. He's
I remember him from Looper.
Yeah, Looper as well. He's a. I really like him. I think he has a little something. He has Christopher Maloney upside. He has a cool edge to him. Yeah, in fact, Christopher Maloney would have been a good Negan back in the day. I'm thinking about Keller and stuff.
If this dude was bigger, I was just thinking about it, but if this dude was bigger, I wouldn't necessarily say that he's one of my favorite actors, but he's an interesting choice. Would be Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell's interesting. Someone's mentioning Bruce Campbell in the live chat. Bruce Campbell would have been a very inspired choice of some sort. I don't mind Negan in the show. I read the comics, and he's really good on Fear the Walking Dead. I don't watch Fear the Walking Dead, but I imagine he's good because he's
the only good part, dude.
He's generally. Is he good on the show though? Have you been watching it, Dave?
Yeah, I've seen, due to some people's reviews, some people do these really long, detailed reviews, and so I feel like I've basically seen it through their reviews.
And he's been one of the highlight points people have said.
He is the single highlight of the whole.
I believe it. He's a very good actor, and I hope he gets a signature role one day to play, to get to show that, because there's so many great actors that never get those signature roles to show their talents, and he's one of those guys that there needs to be the right thing for him to play, and he should get it. Phil should bring on Keller. I would love. Hey, Christopher Maloney wants. He's one of my favorite underrated assets as well. Okay. Anyways, let's continue as we're getting towards the end of this episode, and then we'll open up the chat a little bit more before we call this. So we get to see. Okay, so Negan gets to brass tacks of what he wants here. After I've examined the bread option a few times. Lindsay says Sam Rockwell is one of my favorite actors. He's an excellent actor. He would have played a great Negan. I think that's a good.
He bulked up, you know what I mean? He need to bulk up, but still.
Yeah.
Time. You thought I was your last best chance.
My last best chance for hope.
I want to see her. I need to see her.
No.
Please.
Negan. We don't have your bat.
Where is she? What did you do with her?
Wilson!
Still out there.
Wilson! Well done! Well done! Well done!
Negan. Food's good.
I'm gonna see my Lucille.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, David. What is this? What is this? what is this feeling I have inside? Emotion on The Walking Dead? And I actually said I felt that. I'm making fun of it a little bit with the Wilson, but I could see the situation if I was in a universe like this, transferring human emotion onto an inanimate object. It makes sense. They haven't established his wife enough, but they gave us a little bit of it in this episode, so you can start to put the pieces together a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, here's the sad thing. I think that his performance there was fine. However, we have not seen enough over the last few seasons of these human moments with Negan. I mean, he has been such a caricature that now when you do it, nobody takes him seriously because he's such a buffoon. And it's like, he's still throwing out one-liners when he's behind a fucking cell and he's starving. It would have been better if he never stood up because he couldn't stand because he was too weak. And, you know, the Lucille thing, the fact that he's calling it her and she, it's like, it should have been set up that Negan, the only crazy part for seasons that has been in Negan's head has been this Lucille. It's the one thing in his brain that makes him crazy.
It's a shame. It's a shame because I'm not a big fan of these kind of episodes, but if Negan was going to be this much of a focus character and you're going to focus this much attention on his relationship with the Bat moving forward, there had to be some synergy with the show. Even if it wasn't a whole episode, we need some more backstory, whether it's a flashback, they've done it before, something similar to what we got with the Governor episode where we established who he was, how he became who he was in the world. I wouldn't have minded something like that, taking something from Lost a couple of times where you see how each character has, when you introduce a new character onto The Walking Dead from the television show, you see a little bit of their flashback of how they got through the zombie apocalypse a little bit, maybe, or some sort, even if it's a little montage put together or something. I don't know how you could do that sensibly, but I think especially with Negan, it's so important that they inform these emotions. Otherwise, they're just emotions. They're just a good performance, which is great, but that's something you see in any acting class in America or anywhere. You can see good performances. For it to make a difference, it needs to fucking make sense in the fucking story. And it doesn't because we don't have the backstory. I don't care if he knows the backstory. We as a television audience need to see it, not be told it in 3 scenes earlier and expect to care about it from a character that's been on the show for 3 seasons.
Here's my thing. As far as showing it, you missed the boat. Show. I think you missed it. I think in season 8, after a season of him being torturous, you should have had an entire either like a Morgan episode, you have a Negan episode of his flashback, or you have it interspersed, or hell, anytime maybe how about this? When Negan Lucille somebody, right as he's rearing up and right as he makes impact, just like when Rick had to cut off Jesse's arm and he saw a flash of red in her face for a millisecond, have some woman that shows up every time he Lucille somebody and some kind of reaction from him where he's having some kind of traumatizing flash.
You could have done that even in some of the evil stuff. And the first time you see him hit somebody when we first are introduced to him, see a single flash of a woman's face, even if it's in a couple of frames, just to start to subconsciously introduce the fact that there's some sort of connection between Negan and some woman with that bat, that there's a spirit of a woman. And it's whatever, we're dealing with a zombie show. You can have that dreamy, nonsensical shit going on there, that's a vision of him seeing something. Like every time David swings that thing, he sees this face right there. He's like, fair.
I'm saying, like when Negan, beat in his brains and he goes, "You pussies, I'm just getting started." And then he does that stupid line like, "Look at my dirty girl," or whatever. Lucille is a vampire bat. Okay. When he does that, you could have had a really tight shot of his face where he was kind of going like doing his like laughing kind of grin. And out in the middle of the Saviors, you see this woman who looks cancerous, like she looks like she's dying, who we've never seen before, but she's there all of a sudden.
You hear sad music.
And he sees her. And he kind of, blinks and he goes like that, and she's gone. But she looks mortified. So it's like his wife wouldn't want to see him this way, and the last memory he has of her is her being sick. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then
you had plenty of opportunities to do it, and it would have made that scene mean a shit ton more. So either way, inspired by the script or inspired by the sound, the walkers start falling into the hole, which I thought was really cool. Daryl and Rick start using them to pile them up to climb out of the hole, which I thought was clever, and I thought this was visually kind of a cool scene. I think when The Walking Dead is at its best when it's moving things along and doing action-oriented motion stuff like this. And then we see Rick help Daryl out and be like, David, try to take my hand.
Take my hand, Daryl.
No, let me go. I don't know why I turned him I want to suddenly turn him to Sylvester Stallone because that's like the only thing. Yo, Rick, don't let me go.
Sometimes you just gotta reach out for a hand and take it.
It's true, you do. And so I'm trying to find. So there we go. Push this. There we go. That's what I want to do. Okay, so let's kick it in. Now it's action time. So Rick helps Daryl and says, "Take my head. I love you, brother. I love you." They magically hold each other and think, "I would die for you. I would love for you." The walkers come. They fight him off. Suddenly, a horse is there. And here's the faithful moment where a character has to be stupid in order for him to die.
I'm gonna stay back, lead him away from the camp. What? I'm staying. No, man. I'm not giving up on it, not yet. The river. Take him to the bridge. It ain't ever gonna hold him. He'll get washed out to sea. No, man, I'm not sacrificing the bridge. I'll find another way.
Why aren't you sacrificing the bridge right now? Who gives a fuck?
Other way, man. I'm not destroying the bridge. We need it. Fine. Hey. Be safe.
And that's probably one of the last times we go to see each other, and it's sad. So we go out. Speaking of something that's sad, I'm gonna have to get, before we move in any further, we got to do something really serious. Like, we need David to talk about this next scene, because this is the most important scene in the episode. Really, let's cut this bullshit. We come back in. We have this. Actually, I don't think there's any dialogue in this scene, so it makes no difference. This is the Gabriel wakes up and he finds a Dear John letter from Jadis. And
if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I need to go fast.
Fuck off.
Now, what do you think the significance to, no, I'm fucking, no, whatever. She disappears. Sorry, David. She disappears. And.
Jesus. It's like, who thought in this episode?
In the music. Right here at this point, we've got Rick for an episode in 5 minutes. Who, do we really need this here? Sounds like the end of the beginning of a Pink Floyd song here. Okay. So, hey, we got Carmine in the live motherfucking chat. Is this the episode? Carmine, do you want us to spoil it for you right now? Is this the episode that does it? This is the episode that, in fact, Rick Grimes, we're right at that point, actually, where Rick Grimes becomes a shish kebab? Is that what we say? That's what happens to Rick? Shishka Rick. That's a tough squeeze.
Rick Shabab.
Rickabab. Oh God. Hashtag fuck Jadis from AK. This reminds me of the Stark theme. Melancholy. So yeah. So here we go. At the end of the episode, Michonne tells a story to let's get to the shit that people care about. So Maggie approaches as we see some dead walkers. Daryl rides out too as we see Rick riding. We hear the sounds of walkers as he's surrounded by 2 giant fucking herds on both sides. He's suddenly randomly bumped off his horse as his horse gets scared by the walkers, and he is impaled by one of the rails on the side of the road, and it goes through. It seemed like it went through his kidney area, but it was hard to tell exactly. But it seemed close to the kidney area. As the hordes are all coming towards him, on either side, they pan out to a really good aerial shot of two groups of giant hordes going in on Rick Grimes, who is sitting there like a shish kebab, ready to be eaten by the walkers. And then, honestly, like not even fucking with you, 2 seconds after they fade down to that, the music fades up and goes, "Tune in next week for Rick Grimes' final episode." And they show him walking away from the scene that you saw before, killing some walkers, walking away and having flashbacks and bleeding out and walking away. As the final episode is next week. Rick Grimes, flashback episode. Memories.
Memories. As sweet as a meadow.
So, David, what did you think about the way they chose to take out Rick there?
Assuming that that's where it happens, I don't think it is, but, you know, who the fuck knows?
Maybe Enid can patch up Rick, as Mike V said. Enid knows how to JSS. She can say.
Honestly, show, if you have Enid even in that fucking episode, you know, then you deserve whatever death threats come your way. Okay? Because that's just like Tara comes to the fucking rescue.
JS motherfucking S.
You know, I hated the fact that they were like, you know, Alexandria Relay 1, do you copy? And they had that little shit girl from fucking Oceanside sitting up there like Andrea in season 1, like, I got the walker, when she shot Daryl in the face. You're like, what the fuck? Like, this sometimes this show has just like dyslexia. And like,
and to jump on to something Carmine just said, Walking Dead will only get me back as a definite viewer if they do an anthology series via World War Z or something like that. I think the only way The Walking Dead gets crazy viewership back is if they do something like go off the air for a little while and then come back and not reboot the show in the sense of redo the story again, but do something fresh from a fresh perspective of something like an anthology series where not necessarily Tales from the Crypt, but a Tales from the Crypt type show where you see many ways different characters deal with different time periods through the zombie apocalypse. It's never set in a certain time. It can be set right in the real world time, right before the outbreak occurs, or it can be way down the road in short little episodes. You can even have 3 or 4 episode arcs, but don't try to stretch things out to a X amount of episodes. I think that's where you run into problems. Some stories, some things are better in short burst stories, and I think where The Walking Dead is at its best right now would be in those little vignettes. And I think I hope next season's the last season and they decide to end on the 10th season and they don't try to push this on much longer without Rick Grimes. What's your kind of vibe on that, David? Do you think that they'll try to push this thing on for as long as possible, or kind of end the show and then maybe come back with another Walking Dead thing like a movie or some shit?
A movie I wouldn't mind. However, once again, if Enid, Tara, or fucking Jadis get cast in a Walking Dead movie, I'm out. Okay?
Wow.
Wow. And here's the thing. Walking Dead movie could be great, assuming how they end this. If it really is he dies, or if he gets saved, or he lives. I mean, who the fuck knows? It could all be a fluke. All these spoilers, some of them are fake spoilers, some of them are real. It's hard to fucking know anymore.
Speaking of which, Patricia, just to add to your point and piggyback on this, AMC just tweeted that next week we'll see Herschel, Shane, and more. They're desperate and don't care how angry I am, and they don't care about surprising anybody, David.
Here's the thing. The only way that is going to be okay is if, in fact, it was a red herring, okay, about him dying. You know what would be a great twist is if Daryl fucking died.
Yeah, if someone else dies and somehow Rick goes on walkabout and we don't see him forever again. He's just decided, or
save, but then Daryl, falls on a pencil or something.
Michonne and
oh my God.
Michonne and Judith die, and Rick needs to go. Rick gets crazy again, and he runs off by himself and disappears into the night.
Yeah, I want something where I'm done with the. It's not about us. It's about the future. It's about everything else, and it's like, every character shouldn't be talking like that. Like, not everybody should be concerned about the future. Not everybody should be on board with this. So yeah, sure, some people are going to be out for their own ass and just are content with being safe. But, I don't know, a whole fucking season after he's gone? Like, hell, man, I'll be lucky if I make it to the end of the fucking 9th season.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I really do feel like if they end it the wrong way, you'll lose me for forever.
It's tough, and your name's The Walking David. That's tough. I mean, like
I'm gonna have to start making videos of me literally just walking around.
Walking around. Exactly. You'll turn it to like Forrest Gump running. You'll do walking videos.
I'm just gonna be walking and be like, well,
there's that Walking David again. He's just walking. No, does he talk about The Walking Dead? No, he just walks. That's all he does in his videos.
He walks around. He gets his exercise.
He got one of those what the fuck, I can't think of the exercise machine. What is it? Turnstile or whatever. And
he got an elliptical machine.
He got an elliptical machine. He just keeps walking on that thing.
Back there, like,
yeah.
Man, I'm on mile 4. You guys are really starting to break the sweat.
Yeah, he's breaking a record, the longest someone's ever walked in a live stream ever. Holy shit. Dear Phil, if Daryl dies, I'll have a 10-foot erection, says Tim Gersh. Carbine says Rick goes back into a coma or something. Johnny Rico says the circle will come to an end as the preview shows Rick back in the hospital where it all started. This is the end of The Walking Dead. No more stories to tell. Just rest in peace. It reminds me a lot. Oh, fuck. Treadmill. Thank you, Tim. I couldn't think of the word treadmill. Thank you, Tim. You talk a lot in these. I talk a lot in these podcasts. I miss words sometimes. But I do need to shut the fuck up, Phil, on that one. But ultimately, what I think this episode, I keep thinking about every time they talk about this final episode. Not quite yet. I just want to say one more thing. And what I really keep thinking about in this episode is. Oh, okay. That's not that. What I keep thinking about is the final episode of Scrubs. That when, for good or for bad, whatever your thoughts on Scrubs are, they did a final episode, which was the final episode of Zach Braff was on the show. It was for Scrubs. It was a excellent finish to the series. After the show had been kind of subpar for a few seasons, the final season on a new network was pretty good, and the final episode was really good and kind of felt the feelings you felt in those first couple seasons if you were into the show. And they finished it off really fucking good. He left the show, and the next year, instead of doing a spin-off series, they decided to continue the show with a whole new cast and a couple of the extra actors that decided to stick around because they didn't have any of the other better gigs. And they kept the show going that final season, and it failed because it's gonna fail because it's just not something that can be done successfully on this kind of program. And I don't think The Walking Dead will be successful with a whole brand of new characters. I think if they do something like Carmine was suggesting, they end The Walking Dead, they end Fear the Walking Dead, and they come back after a couple-year break because nothing can stay canceled forever these days. Come back in a couple of seasons with either a movie but probably a new television series that is more of an anthology series of the universe of The Walking Dead. That would be cool, and I think that's the way you save The Walking Dead. I think right now exploiting it and pumping it for every last dime you can get, which is what AMC's doing, isn't obviously beneficial to artistry. It's just not. It's fucking not.
Yeah, for me, this show began with Rick Grimes. This show ends with Rick Grimes.
So is next episode ultimately the final episode for you in a sense in your heart? In your heart, you might continue watching.
Yeah, I think once again, it really does depend on how they do it. For example, they redeemed a lot of the Rick and Daryl relationship within this episode in their discussion when he said, "I would die for you and I would have died for Carl." You know that. It's like, I'm glad to hear that because it's like, dude, you ended last season a fucking 6 months ago making Daryl look like he was going to stab Rick in his sleep, and it made everybody feel uncomfortable and weird. And I'm glad you made it to where it's not so weird.
Yeah.
And that you might actually feel bad for Daryl if something bad happens to Rick or something bad happens to him. But before, you were trying to make us feel weird about Daryl when he hadn't even spoken in a year and a half. I mean, and for me, this has been a story about Rick Grimes, obviously seeking his family and people trying to survive the apocalypse. But even though his character has suffered immeasurable pain and sorrow, he has always tried to do the right thing. He has always tried to bring justice to the world. That was his job before the apocalypse. That was his job during the apocalypse. And he made it his purpose, was to bring back justice to the world. And if you end it there and you end it poorly, or you leave it open-ended or something just to keep people on a hook, that's not fair to your fans. You're an asshole for doing that to your fans and telling them this whole time that their favorite character is going to die. And then you didn't do that. You didn't commit to it. And, if you make me watch a whole fucking season full of a bunch of fucking Muds and Jeds and Jadises, I'm going to lose my shit, dude.
In a season of Negan monologues and dynamic.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. The Negan shit, once again, have him step on a thumbtack, he gets a staph infection, he dies, okay? Just nobody cares. Why can't people die of things in the apocalypse? It would be great if random characters like Gabriel, the only interesting thing about his illness was the fact that he lost an eye and that he could have died from it, and that he just got sick. You know what I mean? Just like in season 4 at the prison when they got the pig virus or whatever, they had H1N1 and they're bleeding from the mouth, nose, and ears and eyes and stuff. That's compelling because Glenn almost died and we were right there going, holy shit, this is intense, because look at our favorite characters trying to struggle to make it in a world where there aren't doctors and hospitals and all this shit. That's why the Aaron scene when he lost his arm was a great scene, because it was at least realistic.
Yep, and those are the moments that I want to watch on The Walking Dead. I don't want to watch society build stuff. If I want to do that stuff, I'll play fucking Civ. I don't give a shit. Carmine says, I agree with David. Show begins and dies with Rick. They should put him back into a coma and continue the show 1 or 2 more seasons with who remains to carry on his legacy. Joe Rant, Walking David is so right. I wouldn't want to watch a full season of Jadis and some random side characters like a whole entire season of Gilly. What the fuck? Tari says, pretty sure Gabriel got sick of the zombie camouflage. Oh yeah, it was a zombie camouflage. Just know it's been a while. Broke says Rick Grimes is going to be on set, so technically the show ain't ending. Yeah, he's going to be directing episodes here and there, which I think is interesting that he's going to
jerking my dick, fucking AMC. Jesus Christ.
We got to keep him in the house.
You already blew your load. Now it just hurts.
We got to keep him in the house, David. We got to keep him in the house. Yeah, we got a little. David's been bringing the Joe Grant, the Joe rant heat tonight.
Because I missed last week, and I didn't want to miss last week. I got so fucked. I missed 2 weeks, actually, that I was supposed to be here ranting about this. So I have a lot of pent-up hostility.
Okay, so let's take a couple more comments in the live motherfucking chat, and then we'll call it a little bit. I just want to play a little bit of this audio, if I have it correct, which is the end of the episode when AMC comes in right immediately with this Rick Grimes' last episode, because I've talked about it a lot, but I want to hear it if I have it. Let's see. It might take a little while here, so we'll talk over it a little bit. I think this is the end where Rick is running. Oh yeah, the horse. Horse just dumped his ass.
Mm-hmm. Call back to season 1.
Yep.
Everybody.
Throwing him down, which is pretty neat. Done. Uh-oh. This music's telling you that either Darth Vader's about to show up or some bad shit.
Great fucking yell from Andrew Lincoln. I actually felt the pain.
Yeah, as he just gets impaled. They should have a Walker Horde kill off some named actors. And someone was saying that in the live chat. I think Iron Throne was saying, I would love to see if they did an anthology series, having whole casts of other shows do guest appearances on The Walking Dead, like having all actors that were killed off on Game of Thrones be on a 3-episode arc of a Walking Dead anthology series, and seeing how they like put them in a real world England, because they're all British, and
I still think that Fear the Walking Dead should end where, if it's behind the, this is back when it was behind the Walking Dead's timeline. When it was behind, I wanted them to all come across Rick's group and get mowed down like they meant nothing.
Dude, that would have been amazing. And then the next episode, you meet a new group.
Yeah, you just go like, then people see Rick mow them down and they go, "That's fucked up. I'm out of here." And then you follow them.
Yeah, I would have watched the fuck out of that show, David.
That would have been fucking amazing. That awful Madison actress just getting a fucking knife in the face from Daryl, like he doesn't even give a shit, just a bolt in the head. And, you know, Rick, you know, even says, like, I don't even care that Morgan's here. All life isn't precious, and just axes him in the chest and then puts a peanut butter bar on his chest, like, fuck you for mentioning these all the time. You know, like,
Mike says, what else is Andrew Lincoln going to do? Directing The Walking Dead? That's all he'll get. At first, he'll probably get some independent movie roles if he wants it, but I think he'll probably mainly do a lot of speaking engagements, probably go back to do theater at this point, and make a lot of money and appearances as Rick Grimes for the rest of his life to fund himself doing theater gigs that he wants to do.
He will take 3 years after The Walking Dead is concluded to, or where he's off the show, to have it kind of die down of him being Rick Grimes, let people forget a little bit, let a whole new generation of retards be born, and then just, you know, move on to something else. That's what, I mean, it's what they do. If Neil Patrick Harris can come back from Doogie Howser,
it's true.
Andrew can come back from Rick Grimes.
It's true. Neil Patrick Harris is a great example of somebody that can kind of like keep coming back in their own ways. And Bryan Cranston has made a name for himself in his own way for doing smaller roles or movie roles here and there after Walter White. So yeah, it is possible. Atari Dad says, I wanted the show to end with Madison become the leader of the Whispers, and then the whole show could have been a villain origin story. A Walking Dead A-Team crossover would be good. And okay, so here we go. Let me play this audio while I still have it. Mad Max: The Walking Dead Fury Road. I'd watch that too. Like I think if they did something like that, where they had just actors from different series coming in, or even AMC, you Better Call Saul, have Vince Gilligan, and you could have different directors come in to direct 3 or 4 episodes here and there, and have fans of the Walking Dead series come in and direct a couple of episodes. Yeah, and AMC people do it. It would be awesome, but it's never gonna happen. Here we go. The episode
presents scenes from Rick Grimes' last episode.
Did you hear that? Okay, it came quick, but let me see if I can rewind a little bit.
Sunday.
It ends.
Audi presents scenes from Rick Grimes' last episode.
Immediately after it goes to black there, Audi presents scenes from Rick Grimes' final episode. And let's listen to the audio. Let's see if we can hear something, if it matters.
Sunday night.
I'm looking for my family. It feels like it's ending.
It's not over. We don't die.
I haven't even seen this part.
Have a good night, AK.
Good night, Alicia.
Rick Grimes' last episode, next Sunday night on AMC.
And it's like I don't know if it's the same voice. It sounded different. It's very, very clear announcer voice. So compliments to Mr. Announcer Voice for a very
on AMC is The Walking Dead.
The extreme clarity. Good job there, David. But it was very, very good. I don't like that. Again, I know it's desperate. It's fucking desperate. It's hey everybody, hey, I'm single. Hey guys, hey.
It's not just desperate, it's fucking rude, man.
It is.
It's like you're ruining it.
It is. Dude,
you're fucking ruining it.
We know.
Yeah, here's the trailer for the next episode. Someone goes, Daryl's like, Michonne, Rick hasn't come back from the thing. And then Michonne goes, what? Tune in next week for the Rick Grimes, then say Rick Grimes' final episode, but don't show what he fucking sees. Like, I only heard the audio of that. This is the first time I have heard it. I haven't even seen the clip yet that they showed. That
Dude,
popped up on my phone a minute ago.
They show a lot. Did you see the clip? Yeah. Okay. They show a lot. They show a lot. I almost want to pull it up here for a second. David, talk. Let's see if I can get how easy it is to get it. Let me see. Let me just distract the people. David, why don't you, before we start we're not necessarily wrapping things up. We're going to go in the chat a little bit more here. But David, why don't you tell people where they can find you and where, if they want to find more of your content and shit, yo.
Well, primarily through my YouTube channel, The Walking David. That really is the best way to, keep up with any kind of content that I do. I recently kind of released a couple of bad movie night reviews that my best friend Alec and my other best friend Kyle, his brother, that we did.
I watched one of those. Very, very funny. Very funny.
What'd you say?
I watched one. Very funny.
Yeah. What did you watch? The latest one?
Which one was it?
I just posted
No, I watched one maybe a week or so ago or something. I watched one.
Okay. Yeah, there was one where we reviewed the movie Crash Dive from 1997 and a movie called Back in Business from 1997. And both shitty VHSs, both horrible movies, but I think the videos and reviews are funny and you get to watch along. And they're fairly long, so they're like 30 plus minutes. So if you have a long shit on the toilet or a long breakfast, it's a good thing to watch. Other than that, I would say the only other way you can keep up with my kind of exploits is through Instagram. And I'll put it in the chat here. I'll do a little it's at Mr. David Grayson. Pretty simple. Kept it simple for you guys. And check out my stuff. Please subscribe if you have nothing else better to do.
Make sure you do. Oh, and broke through it in the chat as well. So yeah, I was having trouble finding it and playing it, and then I realized I don't know how David would be able to watch it as well.
Oh, so, I can watch it right now. Okay.
Okay, so David, you watch it, and everyone else you watch it. I just don't want to get copywritten. They'll call AMC's bastards with that shit, especially with the Walking Dead. It's happened in the past. So and this whole video will end up getting taken down, and I won't be able to download it for the podcast. And too much information. Speaking of the podcast, if you listen to our audio cast, make sure you give us some comments on iTunes, some star ratings, whatever you honestly think of the podcast. And I don't give a shit if that means you hate us, but it still helps to give the rating, so do that shit. And always tune in live and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, Phil the Issues Guy, so you can watch it live and check us out after every episode airs.
Dude, I just watched it.
It shows you everything.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It shows you everything. It shows you everything. It shows you Shane in the front seat. And AMC just tweeted, as someone mentioned in the live chat, sorry, I'm not giving you credit, that Herschel's going to be in the next episode too, which rest in peace, Scott Wilson. We're gonna see Scott Wilson one more time on the show. It's why, David?
People, I swear, my entire life up until 4 years ago, people used to just watch things and have no idea what was coming. And you know what? We all used to love shows. Now everybody has a fucking problem with everything. Okay? Everybody has a problem with every fucking major TV show. And it's because it gets spoiled all the time by the fucking networks, the actors at Comic-Con. They have a fucking talking dumbass show right after the show. It's just frustrating, man. Like these last couple of seasons of like Game of Thrones, even I couldn't imagine if I had known that people reviewed Breaking Bad. Like when I first had watched Breaking Bad, I think I came into it into the 4th season. Everybody was already on the 4th season. When I came into The Walking Dead, they were about to start their 5th season.
That was when most season 4 of Breaking Bad is when they got the biggest surge in audience between 4 and the final season. That the Gus final arc. Excuse me.
And I didn't even find you, Phil, until probably like almost 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I'm not getting away from that. I'm part of the problem too. But whatever.
But it's like
it's okay.
But I don't watch.
Yeah, whatever. But I'm okay. But we're okay. But to your point, the just silly coincidental thing is the very first thing we ever podcast on this channel was the final season of Breaking Bad. Was the final second half of Breaking Bad, where myself and my cousin Gotti podcast live on Ustream, and then uploaded the videos to YouTube of the final season of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, but look at these last couple of seasons though of the last 3 or 4 seasons of The Walking Dead and the last 2 or 3 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Spoilers weren't as crazy though, and I don't want to do that back in my day going through the snow, but spoilers have always been a thing forever. But the urgency that it's a cottage industry of finding out that information as much as possible. And I have nothing against people that go out there. That's a fuck it. The people that go out there on sets and take pictures and shit like that. I mean, that's a lot of fucking effort to do that shit.
Go make your nut, okay?
Yeah, make your nut, exactly.
Go get your nut, okay? However, you know, in this case, what you eat does in fact make me shit, and it's upsetting to me because it's like, I like this show, and you're ruining it.
But then there's this bullshit that's bullshit releases, like with the Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker bullshit, where these set photos are being released that are obviously actual releases to get audience tease reactions, to do test audiences they're playing with it now, because that's what studios will do. Big studios will be like, oh okay, so people are doing this, why don't we leak our own photos to give a test, to test people out on the makeup on the Joker.
Yeah, and you know, it was already a weird choice, and they know that it's a weird choice, and like you said, they're trying to justify it in case if they have to do some kind of emergency reshoot or something like that.
At least that's
they
what I
want to
think.
have the time to do it.
At least that's what I think. I think it stinks of when you see set photos that are actual leak things with the people hiding. The Joker ones look like they were actually released on purpose. They were like, oh, these are stolen
on a 4K iPhone 10 by the assistant director.
Yeah, and he's like posing in a couple of the photos too. I mean, maybe they were publicity shots or whatever, but still, there was some shadiness going on there that I think was.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit now leaked to the Joker. There's like 5 minutes of the movie that you can see through cell phone footage.
Mm-hmm.
5 fucking minutes. That's a shit ton. The most that used to get spoiled was when a movie was coming out and the synopsis of it. But now we don't even get that. It's like people release the entire script.
Yeah, if you want any movie or television show spoiled for you, you can find that information out there. It's not relegated just to Game of Thrones or relegated stuff. Shows that are really tight-lipped, it's even the shows that are the most tight-lipped, there's someone out there that's taking a chance and spoiling it. It's a very interesting time with media and the way people are consuming it and the choices. Everyone likes to consume stuff a different way, so I don't like to be like, fuck you for doing this one way. But it's just very interesting, because we talked about this earlier, and I think if anything's the theme of David and I's podcast tonight, it's surprise is the best asset as a television watcher. And I think going into this episode, tie it all with a nice bow, we all knew that Rick Grimes was going in the six episodes. But also, out of sight, out of mind, if they had just said part of it, and people have said, well, Andrew Lincoln announced he was leaving, they kind of were in a no-win situation, fine. X amount of months ago, whenever it was in May, because I remember we were driving home from the Con of Thrones on the cross-country trip at the time it got put out there. Or whenever it was May or June or whatever, that Andrew Lincoln announced that he was going to be leaving the show. You say he's leaving the show then. You say maybe 6 episodes, whatever got spoiled or got put out there, the 6 episodes. Then you don't mention it again until he dies. No, you just ignore it and you have the death again be a surprise. But again, they chose to take the tactic of reminding you after every episode and doing the ticker of how many episodes he has left, how many minutes.
Rick Grimes' death is brought to you by Audi Das Auto.
2,307 2,000 minutes to Rick Grimes dying. That's 2 minutes.
You're all gonna cry.
It's just horrible, and I think that a lack of surprise. Some stuff is okay to a certain extent. Things happen, you get spoilers, and I think some movies or television shows you can watch and I don't give a fuck. But with something like this, they beat this so much that you knew it was coming, and for me, it lacks some of the strength it could have had if it was a surprise. Jokes in character deaths on television shows are always better with deaths. Always better with deaths. Whoa. Always better, Freudian slip there. Always better as a surprise. It's hard.
Listen, guys, that's why they're called surprises. I mean, like, you're getting literally down to the definition of words. That's how fucked this is. It's
I read about the surprise ending.
Surprise birthday party planned for you, Phil, and it's on your birthday at this time in this place.
I will actually.
2 more days to your birthday.
I'm totally gonna be surprised. I'm totally gonna be surprised.
By the way, you're gonna be real surprised. You have no idea what's happening, but here is a guest list of the people who are not coming to your birthday party. It's just a theory I have of who may show up, but they're definitely gonna.
You know what? So, theoretically, I'm gonna be really disappointed that person didn't show up.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
But I'll pretend to be excited anyway. So.
Good.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. This was really awesome. David, I can't wait to have you again because David will be back later in the season. As David mentioned, if you haven't already, definitely check out Walking David's channel and give him a sub. Everyone in the live motherfucking chat, you have been amazing as always. Let's go through a couple quick comments and say goodbye to some folks. Let's see. We got... Lindsay says, what baffles me is because in the past he didn't hold back criticism. It's like he sold himself. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm jumping. Sometimes in the live chat when I read comments, I'm jumping in mid-conversations with people. But let's go. Let's see. Anyone has any final comments? Now's the time. VFW says, Elizabeth Olsen almost spoiled that she died in Infinity Wars. She was doing a panel the day before the premiere, and she said, please bring me back. Kevin Feige shot her a look. And that's the problem when you do all these appearances, as David was saying. I don't mind the whole convention thing, and I want to be like, oh, fuck it, it's fucking horrible. But I think having characters that are still alive in shows and movies while they're at those conventions possibly isn't the best thing to do. Maybe have a rule that characters, when you're contractually connected to a show, still you can't make appearances there. Not just you can't...
Only have people make it your thing that if Walking Dead or Game of Thrones... You're only allowed to have people show up at Comic-Cons or interviews who are already dead.
Yeah.
They're not getting new scripts. You already saw them die. Nothing's getting fucking spoiled. You get to ask them all kinds of set questions. What's it like working with Andrew Lincoln? What's it like getting stabbed by Daryl Dixon in the face? Ask them fucking questions. But don't you fucking dare ask Andrew Lincoln his fucking opinion of his last few episodes.
Yeah, and
you're setting them up for a fall.
And this isn't some sporting event where they're let's interview Andrew Lincoln as he comes off the field. So Andrew Lincoln, you just recorded your last scene in The Walking Dead. I don't want to know. I like mystery in my theater, and by theater I just mean my entertainment, my visual entertainment. If I can say, again, one thing 1,000 times over and over again, literally this podcast is just me repeating the thing over and over again. Entertainment, I want to be surprised. That's it. I like surprise. And
nothing would be worth watching if everything was spoiled for you.
Yeah, it's true. It is absolutely true. So let me get ready over here. David, thank you so much for joining me. I will definitely be talking to you later in the season. And everyone in the live motherfucking chat, you are awesome as always. And if you haven't already and you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Share the channel with a friend. And if you're listening to the podcast, like the podcast. Spread the word. You can think about all the ways you can help the channel grow in the description box below. Do that. Help us. Push us.
Also, Riz, just wanted to say thanks for having me on, dude. I really do appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure, David. Love you, buddy. Mystery, 100% film. Mystery is everything. It really is. It's super surprise. David said it perfectly. It's like, oh, hey, I'm totally throwing you a surprise party on your birthday in May, Phil. Thanks. Phil says that, but when Game of Thrones Season 8 leaks come out, he gets on the lotion. It's tough because I have trouble refusing it. Season 8, I've so far been, as I've mentioned before, 99% spoiler-free of Season 8 of the final season of Game of Thrones coming out.
Hey, last minute rant. It's just, you fuckers out there who think that the Season 8 footage leak of Jon hugging Sansa is a big deal. Suck my balls, okay? Like, seriously, the fact that you're like, oh my God, there's new footage, and that's the only new thing. That's the only new thing. That's all of the leaked footage. It's like you suck at even spoiling shit, you fucks.
It was 2 seconds. It was 2 seconds of a trailer. I know exactly what you're talking about, David. But good final rant, David. Again, I was gonna call you Joe there for a second, but everybody, make sure you check out David. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this channel with a friend. Make sure you jump all around. You guys are awesome. We'll talk to you guys next time when Rick Grimes is gone. We'll have Joe Dirty Locks back. Maybe David will call in a little bit too after he watches the episode. Give his thoughts on the final episode.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll be back soon. Later. Oh yeah, what I meant to say. But I've avoided Season 8 leaks because I fucking watched all of I watched all of the Season 7 leaks too much, and it ruined Season 7 for me and made it not as quite as exciting for me. So that's why I've prided myself on I avoid watching some of the channels I like on YouTube because I don't want to see spoilers right now. I want to avoid myself, put my head in the sand, and not really start to dig in on it too much until some of the images of the new season come, because I want to be as surprised as possible. It's tough. And that's why I've liked Better Call Saul, because no one's really trying to push Better Call Saul spoilers, so a show like that's been a good surprise to me, and other shows like that. Anyways, that's my little rant of the night. I avoid them. I'm an ostrich. Good night. But you can spoil the fuck out of The Walking Dead for me at this point. It's already done. Blooms off my rose. Next week is the final episode of The Walking Dead.
Sponsored by Audi.
I want to drive an Audi now. I'm going to buy a fucking Audi.
Audi, the official car of the apocalypse.
Yes, the official car of the death of Andrew Lincoln. Good night, everybody.